The race to finals is heating up with a spot in the 8 on the line tonight as the Crows host the Giants at Adelaide Oval. It's a night of milestones as Adelaide great Rory Sloane reaches 250 games, whilst two-time best and fairest winner Lachie Whitfield notches 200. But there are some big names missing for the occasion, with Tom Green and Nick Haynes out for the visitors. And there's been a late change for GWS as well, with Finn Callaghan out with a hip injury. So Aaron Cadman comes into the side alongside Jacob Ware, their sub Josh Fay. And for the Crows, Ned McHenry will don the vest for the 7th time this season. Aaron Bryan's with you to call the action. Alongside me as always at the Adelaide Oval is Neil Cross. Good evening, Crossy.
Aaron, good to be here. Looking remarkable how good Adelaide's form here is at the Adelaide Oval compared with their away form. 7-2 at home here at the Adelaide Oval, and the Giants though have won their past 2 here at the Adelaide Oval by big margins, almost 10 goals both times over the Crows. So a little bit to look forward to tonight, and this could be well the difference for either side in making the finals.
Both are a game out of the 8, so tonight one of them will be inside of it. They're very Jekyll and Hyde, the Adelaide Crows, obviously scoring over 100 points per game at home, but as you mentioned, on the road, a totally different beast. And the Giants have had their number. They've won the last 3 against this footy club. Your experts this evening, firstly, a very warm welcome and a debut to former Giant, showdown medalist, Dean Brogan. Welcome to the ABC Sport Box.
Thank you. One to be here, and what a perfect night for football. And both teams, whoever wins tonight goes into the 8. The other one who loses sits outside the 8, and it's got a tough road in the next few weeks. So Adelaide, bit inconsistent as we know, 1 win, 1 loss, 1 win, 1 loss, but they are at home, and they're a 2-3 goal better side at home. But let me tell you, this Giants team are probably the form team of the AFL the last 3 or 4 weeks, and their midfield is playing really, really well.
GWS in ripping form at the moment. They've won the last 4 games. And then the Crows, as you mentioned, they haven't won consecutive ones since round 6. So the form line's a little bit different heading into this contest. Speaking of showdown medals as well, there's a 3-time showdown medalist sitting right next to you. Josh Franco, welcome back to the box.
Thanks, Aaron, and welcome everybody. It's a massive game for both clubs, and we talked about Dean and obviously Crossy in terms of the bottleneck trying to get into that top 8. So again, it could be one of those, you win this game tonight or you lose it. Could be the difference between making the 8 or not making the 8. So again, a huge game for both clubs this evening at Adelaide Oval here. Scores from centre clearance has been Adelaide's problem. They'd be very excited about the prospect of facing a Giant side that doesn't have Tom Green or Finn Callaghan in it now, Brokes.
Yeah, look, it's a huge out. Green, he's been an all-Australian form. But the big matchup, I think, is Briggs versus O'Brien. Briggs is the form ruck of the competition. He's been a revelation for the Giants over the last 3 or 4 weeks. He's been vital with their clearances, so O'Brien's going to have his work cut out of him. And who does Keys go to? Hawthorn did a really good job on Josh Kelly last week. Does Keys come into the midfield and take care of Josh Kelly? The Giants still have a lot of firepower in that midfield.
Just on that too, Dean, obviously your time at the Giants, is Kelly the one that they need to stop?
I think so. I think Kelly's the one that's damaging with his possessions. So if Kelly gets 25, 30 possessions, he'll hurt you.
Yeah.
And I think, besides Cog, Caniglio, and if Green comes in the midfield, Kelly's definitely the one that you can get. And but he does have some flexibility, so they can put him out in a wing or they can put him half forward. But that's the beauty of Keys. He can go everywhere with you. So it wouldn't surprise me if Keys goes with him for a hard shutdown.
Had a career low 6 touches last week. Josh Kelly may have been one of the factors as to why Hawthorn got so close in the end, and Jesse Hogan ended up kicking the match winner. He and Toby Green were prolific when they played the Crows in round 1, which was a game that was almost decided by, you could argue, external factors. There was the temperature at play in that second half where the Crows almost fell off. If we look at the matchup tonight, it's a bit more of a clean slate between two teams that are around the same mark. Conditions are pretty perfect. It's a bit of a chilly Saturday night, Josh, but I think they're pretty even on paper heading into this one. There's no excuses.
No, absolutely not. And I think also, too, we look at Adelaide's form last week. We've spoken about how inconsistent they are when they play away from Adelaide Oval. I mean, is it one of those things you can take into account? Their form last week against Essendon, and looking some at the stats, they were minus 100 in disposals, minus 16 contested possessions, minus 90 in uncontested possessions. Again, that was away. Do you read anything into that coming into tonight's game?
Oh, look, there's a little bit of a concern that teams that play really quick, they struggle with.
Yeah.
And the Giants are the number 1 mark play-on team in the competition. So, Matty Nicks wouldn't have liked what he saw last week, but as we've seen across the competition, a lot of teams are struggling to play to win away from home. We saw Brisbane, they can't win away from home, and they're sitting 3rd. So as much as it's inconsistent by Adelaide, a lot of teams are struggling to win away from home, but they will need to slow down the Giants' ball movement when they mark the footy, and that does start in their back line. So their forwards are going to have to win their one-on-ones tonight.
And I think one of the other concerns for Adelaide, and looking at some of the numbers from the Giants, since round 13, I think they're the best defensively ranked team in the competition. I think it's 52 points against on average in terms of opposition that they've played, and they're a very good pressure team as well.
Yeah, like you just said, they base their game off pressure and set marks, and away they go. It's like the Orange Tsunami back in the day. Adam Kingsley's got them playing that sort of football, which is a really good brand. But both teams like to score. Adelaide 100 points at Adelaide Oval, so should be a high-scoring game.
Yep.
There is another contest on tonight over at Cardinia Park. If you do want to hear it, jump on the ABC Listen app and hit the AFL button. It's Geelong up against Essendon. Currently the Cats lead 3-1-19. The Bombers yet to score. Goals to Brad Close, Brian Myers and Tyson Stengel.
A Melbourne-based team playing at Cardinia Park.
There was a bit of a debate through the week about it, Crossy, that could Geelong actually host their own home game? They ended up getting their way, and yes, at the moment they are leading 19-0 in the early stages.
And I think also worth mentioning is the players walking out to position. Rory Sloane, 250 games, what an outstanding career he's had, hasn't he?
Absolute superstar, and probably going well enough to play again next year.
Yeah, agreed.
One of the most beloved players in the league as well. No one really has a bad word to say about him.
Come off a rookie list, he's done it the hard way.
The thoughts of Dean Brogan, Josh Franco, Aaron Bryans and Neil Cross with you for the call. The fifth member of our commentary team downstairs tonight is Josh Money. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you very much, Aaron. The new captain, Jordan Dawson, has just won the toss in the old Skippers milestone game, so the Crows will kick to the southern end of the ground. A nice crowd in tonight. We're expecting about 40,000 for Sloane's 250th game. It is a cold night, about 9 degrees, but not much breeze to speak of, and let's hope the rain stays away. On the bench for both teams, Aaron Cadman, the late in, is on the bench for the Giants. So is Isaac Cumming, Harry Perryman and Callum Brown. Josh Fay is the sub. Ben Keys won't be tagging from the start. He's on the bench for the Crows. Riley Thilthorpe, Josh Rochelle and Josh Worrell join him there. And for the 7th time this year, talk about a specialist, Ned McHenry is the sub for the Crows.
Spot in the 8 on the line. It's the Crows and the Giants on Grandstand AFL to continue round 18. To kick things off, here's Neil Cross.
Well, Adelaide's gone win-loss, win-loss, win-loss for the last 9 weeks, and in that sequence, well, they're due for a win against the Giants, who've won 4 in a row either side of their round 15 bye. Ball in the middle, and Briggs got a hand on it briefly, and Sloane got the first possession, we'll call it that. He socked it off the ground, and the mark taken by Walker at centre-half forward. Belts a kick in long and hard into the pocket. Pedler picks it up, back towards goal, bouncing and goes through and hits the behind post. So across the face ultimately, and into the behind post in the right forward pocket.
Just one of the matchups worth watching is Green has been picked up by the young Michael Annie.
Great start by Taylor Walker. He's got Sam Taylor playing on him, who's in All-Australian form at the moment. So great start by Taylor Walker to grab that mark on him.
Toss back in, Crows attacking 50. Walker took it out of the ruck, handed it to Laird, and the Crows strike first in the opening minute. Adelaide lead 1 straight 6. The Giants yet to score. Opening quarter on Grandstand AFL.
Just on cue, Taylor Walker, lovely ruck work. Handballs are straight to Laird. Poor defending by the Giants. No one in the goal square. Laird runs in for an open goal. Really good start by Taylor Walker.
Absolutely it was, and we always talk about those forward 50 stoppages. From a defender's point of view in the opposition, they're on high alert, and having a look at the replay, they just got no body whatsoever on Laird. He got a free run at the ball and full face of goal and a really good finish. Great start for the Crows.
So the veterans, Walker, Laird, Sloane involved early. The only one that's out of that sequence was Pedler, one of the younger players. So Crows on the board first. Exciting start. Ball back in the middle. And this time Briggs with the tap down. And Adelaide will come away though through Laird. Sends it long. It'll be looking for Fogarty. He brings it to the front. Murphy was there. Taylor got him. Ash turned it over. The umpire spotted what? Holding the ball was the free kick given against Murphy as he crashed through. And Taylor will receive it. 40 out. Straight in front of his defensive goal for the Giants.
The number 1 ranked defender in the league heads out to the eastern side. Packer waits. O'Brien crunches it, spills down, head over the footy. Cornelio flipped it out towards the boundary line. Murray went to ground with the footy for the Crows. Perryman tried to hand it back. It rolls over the boundary line to be tossed back into play. Free kick going Adelaide's way. We'll go to Rory Laird. Jake Riccardi, the offender. Well, they're conferring about it, the umpires, and now decide it's a boundary throw-in in the end. Bit of confusion in front of the Foss Williams stand. So we'll be tossed back into play on the outer side. Meanwhile at Cardinia Park, Geelong are up by 5 goals and the Bombers are yet to score. Adelaide by 6 here. Toss back into play. O'Brien wins it down. He's looking for Murphy. Did a nice turn away from Kelly. Hands it to his skipper. Dawson heads up to left half forward. Walker got rid of Taylor with ease. Turns from 50. Taylor Walker heads for home, but it's carrying across the face and bounces through for a minor score. Adelaide 1-1-7. The Giants yet to score 3 minutes in.
Taylor Walker, I think he liked that shot again. Normally he kicks those. They're just too big, too strong, too tall in that marking contest.
Really well on Taylor. I love Adelaide's centre bounces. They're 2-zip up. Hasn't been their strength over the last month, but they started really well in that area.
Harry Himmelberg plays on from full-back for the Giants. Goes out to the eastern side. Comes off hands. Cornelio, straight ball to boot. Down towards Green. Michael Annie got him. Took him to ground near the logo on centre wing. The ball stuck in under the players. Umpire calls for it. We'll get a ball up.
Thought Michael Annie just lucky to get away with that one. I thought he was in the back of Toby Green there.
Quick ball up. Briggs wins it down. Kelly tried to throw a handball out. Umpire couldn't see. It was blocked with his line of sight, and Laird's wrapped up by a couple on the logo.
It's a big job for a rookie on Toby Green, the absolute superstar of the competition. Michael Annie Ghost has got him.
O'Brien wins it down straight to Scholl, but he runs out of room as well with Jacob Ware. A late inclusion yesterday for Tom Green, wrapping him up. Third time's the charm, slapped forward by O'Brien. Ware was waiting. Hands it off to Ward for the Giants. Kicks down through centre wing. Bouncing in front of Cornelio. Gathers on the boundary line. Kick around the body under pressure. Was straight to Miller. Did well on the bounce. It was low and hard. And then dinked it over the top to Chase Jones.
Jones in half-back. Flares wide. It's taken by Laird. Running past was his good mate in Smith down to half-forward. And there was pushing in the contest down there. Taylor will receive the free kick away from Taylor Walker. So a chance for the Giants to steady a bit, get a bit of clean possession. Taylor called the play on now, forced to just thump it long. Murray came, flew over the top, knocked it over the boundary line away from Riccardi. Will get a throw in. Out on the eastern wing. It's been camped out there for a little while in this opening quarter.
It has, and only a couple of minutes gone in this first quarter. Already inside 53 zip Adelaide's way. It's been played in their front half.
The voice of Josh Franco alongside Dean Brogan. Toss back into play. Briggs won it down for the Giants. Bounced straight in front of Laird. He's wrapped up in a tackle. Ball up to come close to the boundary line. Briggs again disposes of O'Brien with ease. Took it out of the ruck and dropped it in the tackle though. Play continues. Sliding in, Kelly is wrapped up in the Scholl tackle. Moves slightly closer towards the Giants attacking 50. Still yet to put a score on the board, the Giants, trailing by 7. Ball up again to come close to the boundary line.
Both teams bringing up an extra forward, so 5 forwards for the Giants, 5 forward for the Crows, so lots of numbers around the stoppage.
So Adelaide by 7 points, 5 minutes in off the stoppage. This time there'll be a free kick to the Giants, some sort of holding on Kelly. So the talented left footer breaks away, kicks it long inside forward 50, big pack forms, ball comes to the front. Picking it up and having it briefly was Hinge, but he lost it in the tackle. Umpire calls play on. Scholl gets it out of there for Adelaide. Back towards centre wing. And another ball up will be the result there. It was taken by Fogarty, who was taken down immediately in the tackle by Buckley. So it's just inside the centre square.
13 tackles already in the opening 6 minutes. Off the ruck contest, Daniels gets the clearance for the Giants. An errant kick into the 50 that hits the chest of the leading Hogan. Takes it out in front. 40 out, slight angle to the right.
Probably just a good example of forward playing in front there, bro. It's Hogan obviously standing in front. The quick kick from the stoppage landed short and took almost an uncontested mark.
Well, it's forward 101, isn't it?
Yeah.
Forwards are always taught at a young age to stand in front because you never know when that surge kick is going to come out, and that Hogan did that wonderfully.
Put 3 goals on the Crows in the opening round of the season. Jesse Hogan, almost an awkward ball drop, but it won't matter. Straight over the goal umpire's hat. The Giants have their first of the evening, and the deficit's down to a point. Adelaide 1-1-7, GWS 1 straight 6, 7 minutes into the opening term on Grandstand AFL.
And as you said, Aaron, pretty tight and tough in there at the moment. 14 tackles. We've only played sort of 4 minutes of this first quarter, so it has been quite congested. Brogues, you mentioned that both sides are bringing a forward up to the stoppage, so there's lots and lots of numbers. But again, from that example, from that stoppage, that quick kick forward, didn't overuse it, obviously, by hands around the scramble. And Hogan standing in front took an uncontested mark and went back and kicked a beautiful goal from outside 50.
What it means is that both teams' defenders are going up with the forward, so it leaves the forward line really open. So it's an opportunist goal. Surge kick forwards are going to have some space to work with, and that's what happened on that occasion. So Adelaide are choosing not to drop one back in front of the forwards at this stage.
Interesting battle on the wing on this broadcast side of the ground. Chase Jones and Kelly going at it. Meanwhile, tap favours Sloane. Quick hand pass out to Keys. Forced to get a little scrubby kick away. It got to Dawson. He's tackled immediately. And the Giants have forced the Crows back to centre halfback. And that's where we'll get a ball up.
Tossed in the air by Lee Howson. Entangled is Briggs and O'Brien. Briggs wins it down. Went through the legs of Chase Jones charging in. Perryman flicked it straight back to him. Kicked off a step up through the corridor. Sitting back, though, was Cumming for the Giants.
That's a good mark, running back with the flight.
He did that well, Cummings. He just laid off his opponent. His forward went too far into the stoppage, and Cummings just laid off beautifully. A
boy from Broken Hill on the 45 hits Perryman too far out to score at left half forward. Giants to the northern end. Perryman, low darting kick. Didn't travel far enough to even make a contest for Toby Green. Chase Jones gathers and hands it back to Keys. He looks to clear up towards Fogarty in a one-on-one. Wrestling with Buckley, it goes to ground. Sloane soccers forward though, and they're out. Murphy hands it to Fogarty. His kick's smothered though. Ricochets the Giants' way to Taylor in front of the benches. Inside to Buckley now. Here's Perryman running out of room, but spotted Taylor at the last moment. He'll sky it towards the 50 for the Giants. Adelaide have numbers sitting back.
Michael Annie was on it. Green ducked away from him though. Michael Annie couldn't gather. Green received the hand pass towards goal, and Murray got back ahead of Riccardi to knock it through for the Miners score. Rush behind, levels it up at 1-1 apiece. 9.5 into the opening quarter.
It's just a hot footy at the moment. It's a very contested game. 1v1s all over the ground, so you're going to have to earn your kick tonight.
Cats by 38 heading towards quarter time at Cardinia Park over the Bombers. Here scores level, as Crossy mentioned. Hinge heads to the scoreboard pocket in the defensive 50 to Scholl and 50. Jacob Ware moved on the mark, so Scholl will be marched up to the eastern side. He'll go long through the wing. Put it in the path of Hinge, who kept running, gathers on the bounce. Tried to centre, Iden did well to stick an arm out. Ricochet back to Hinge, gives it to McAdam on return. Had nowhere to go to, hands it to Iden. The Giants have numbers at right half back. Himmelberg to Ware, skied it. All their numbers were back, so they had no one forward, and they've given it up again, the Giants.
Hand pass finds Worrell. It came from Murray, and then long kick inside forward 50, bit of pushing going on. Thump forward by the Giants defence. Just outside 50, O'Brien is hand pass slightly smothered. Ward tried to push off a tackle, had taken the ground, and then Murphy slung to ground. Still at play on, fighting his way through. Fogarty can't get a clean disposal. Soccers off the ground, top of the goal square. Ash picks it up for Giants. Comes away off the left foot, does very well to get it wide. Picked up by Brown, got it to hand a foot very quickly, and does well to get it to Cadman. Cadman marks just inside the boundary line on the broadcast side.
Chips it over the top. Onto the lead of Kelly. That was very close to the boundary line. Fans on the western wing not happy. And the Sir Donald Bradman stand. Kelly paid the mark and called to move it on. He'll head up to left half forward. Packer waits. Good fist to ground by Smith. Ward was waiting, crunched in the tackle and coughed it up to O'Brien. It was a push in the back. Free kick to the Giants and their inaugural skipper, Callan Ward. He stepped off his line, so has to rush his kick into the 50. A 2-on-2 floating across. Toby Green crunched the pack, stuck a knee into his opponent. Butts is down. Adelaide can exit though through a chain of handballs. Laird to Murphy. Now Smith.
He hands it on, and wide it comes from Sloane. Off to Rankin, steps inside brilliantly down the line, finds Fogarty. Murphy's out behind him. Walker's inside 50 as well. Goes with the left foot for Walker, 25 out, can't take the mark. Recovery beautiful onto his left foot and kicks the goal. 2 for Taylor Walker. electric start to this game. Adelaide 2-1-13. The Giants 1-1-7 after 12 minutes on Grandstand AFL. Your experts, Dean Brogan and Josh Franco.
Well, I tell you what, when you talk about players that make the game slow down around them, Isaac Rankin on that occasion, as we just spoken about, it's a highly contested, it's a one-on-one game at the moment. The pressure's elite from both sides, but it just took Isaac Rankin to show some composure in front of the members' wing here, just on the boundary line, sold the candy, and then set up that forward entry. I think it was for Fogarty on the left foot to Walker. Terrific play there from Rankin. Terrific goal assist.
What a contest by Butts down here. He got absolutely crunched. The Crows mop it up at half-back, and with a chain of handballs, it just broke the lines. And like you said, you get it in the hands of Rankin, something good's going to happen.
Yeah.
Taylor Walker is absolutely on fire at the moment.
Crows by 6. Nice high bounce in the middle. Brown up against O'Brien, who won it down for the Crows. Perryman ran past the footy. Cornelio did well low to ground to skim the ball forward. Bedford came out and handed it to Ward. Kicks around the body, diving forward. Hogan just couldn't reel it in. Miller gathers a little 1-2 with the milestone man, Rory Sloane. Now forward to Smith. Just behind centre wing, broadcast side. His kick is poor as he hooked it inside, but a free kick. Perryman the offender against Murphy. Adelaide can keep going. Murphy heads into the 50, looking for Thilthorpe. Good spoil from Iden. Walker couldn't get there on the bounce. Angwin gathered for the Giants. Handball inside, a dangerous one. Laird charging through. Got it to Murphy. Diving handball inside to Sloane. Kick smothered by Iden. The Giants fighting hard for it at the moment. And it will be held up just outside the Crows' 50. Umpire wants to keep things going. It's thrust just inside. Ward was waiting, wrapped up by Walker, but got it off. Iden to Cornelio. Now Bedford through the centre circle. Heads into the arc. Hogan's presenting. Back with the flight. Courageous from Murray. Got a fist. Ricochets out. Cadman tried to paddle it to Bedford. Now Lloyd lays a tackle. He holds up Hinge. Did enough to make an effort. And a ball up will come. 40 out straight in front for the Giants.
Terrific effort by Murray. We're just saying Butts' praises then, but Murray just does the same thing there. They're really holding up down back at the moment, Adelaide Crows.
So the ball in the air, tapped down towards Laird from O'Brien, and Laird immediately taken in a tackle by Lloyd and Iden. And that was Brown, in fact, so he's in the ruck now. Brown to go against O'Brien. O'Brien got the ball down. Bedford was there briefly. The hand pass came back to Brown. The snap for goal, and the Giants have the second to level it up. 2-1 apiece. After 14 minutes, just a little slippery hand pass in there, and Brown was quick to get ball to boot. So the Irishman from County Derry gets the goal for the Giants.
And just once again, it's a forward 50 stoppage there. And I think you called it, Crossy. The hands, was it from Daniel?
Was,
off the ground. It just shows a great exponent of how good these guys are at this level in terms of when pressure's coming and the heat's coming, and the ability and composure just to find a target by hand. And as you said, it's just a quick snap for goal in the end from Brown. Terrific finish.
Cracking goal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Brown's actually going into the ruck now, so he can play down back, but he's actually playing around the footy tonight. I like the move by Adam Kingsley. I really rate this kid. I reckon he's a very good player, and what a finish that was. What a game so far, lads.
10th for 11th, and they're going blow for blow. In the middle, Brown soared up to get the tap. Laird charging through, bounced off Perryman and gave it away to Kelly. Kick was poor though. Low and hard, straight to Hinge. Just the required 15, although Crossy doesn't think so. Adelaide defensive 50 is Hinge. A dangerous exit. Good mark by Smith, who stuck a boot in the back of Bedford. Got a bit of height. Not enough to be mark of the round, but certainly something special. Down the line. Buckley was sitting underneath it, spoiled away, bursting through his Rankin, centres his kick, trying to get it to Rochelle, just a little too hot. Coming out to meet it, flicked it out to Lloyd. The Giants now on the counter on the eastern side.
A lot of grass to play with out there, and it'll be going over the boundary line. Ahead of Worrell, who was tracking it across. Hogan was behind him. Umpire says that's fair enough.
I thought Rochelle was a little bit casual in that marking contest. Went up one-handed, potentially could have used two, and clunked it. Chose to go with one hand. Ball came to ground, turnover.
Ball comes back into play. Brown got rid of O'Brien, slipped out a hand pass. Green just put it forward towards centre half forward. But Bedford was no match for Smith for Adelaide. He flares wide straight away. Butts with the mark, just on 50 at right half back for Adelaide.
On return from concussion, Butts Caught the side of the boot. It's a dangerous kick close to the boundary line. Just stays in, but sliding across, Whitfield takes the intercept mark. Right in front of the benches. He'll square things up. Hits Iden. Right next to the logo, broadcast wing. Iden will blast it. Long towards the 50. Hogan's caught behind. Murray thrusts across with the fist. Goes on the second bite as well to exit the 50, but Kelly was sitting back. Retreats with a handball to Whitfield for the Giants. High into the 50. Getting a run at it, Hogan, as was Riccardi. Went off hands of both of them. O'Brien was smothered by his own teammate. Riccardi's gathered and shanked it all the way to the scoreboard pocket. And out on the full. Free kick to the Crows. Left back pocket. Scores level. 2-1, 13 apiece.
I think in golfing terms, O'Brien had an airy there. A little bit of pressure coming from, looked like his own teammate.
No mulligans here. So Miller kicks it out. Coming intercept mark. Dawson, the captain, signals back to Miller. Get it higher. Give me a chance. Coming now. Right half forward, eastern side. Sends it in long and good mark by Worrell. And Hogan says to his teammate, get it higher. So an intercept mark for Worrell.
Great start so far for Josh Worrell. This is his 11th game. He's already averaging 7 intercepts a contest. From the exit, there's a free kick for the Crows. A hold to go the way of Darcy Fogarty, right half back. Slow things down in what's been a pretty fiercely contested contest. He'll look to switch through defensive 50. Brodie Smith lowers the eyes, just the required 15. Still inside the arc, Wayne Miller. He's been very impressive the past month. He'll spear it down the line as well. Fogarty again, hands it to Miller, who can race through the defensive edge. Up to the logo. Rankin marks in front. Plenty of Giants flooded back ahead of him and not a lot of room to work with. Rankin will head to the right half forward region. It's a long kick, just a bit too heavy, I think, for Sloane, and it's out on the full.
But Adelaide are getting a lot of bounce off half back. Smith and Malera are starting to have a real impact on this game. It's just centre forward, they're just struggling a little bit, but they are bouncing very well off half back.
Lockie Whitfield, the Giant, in game number 200, to the point of the square at half back with his kick. Giants play on quickly and it's flipped forward. Lloyd picks it up ahead of the centre. Off to Ash through the middle of the ground. He finds Green by himself. He was 55 out, allowed to play on. Boom, goal. And the Giants hit the front. Toby Green with a beautiful finish. And it's 3-1-19 for the Giants to Adelaide 2-1-13. The Giants' first lead of the game, almost into time on in the opening quarter.
What a kick by Whitfield. Just turned his focus into the corridor and hit a bullet which got the Giants out, and the game's just started to open up a bit now. Both teams have settled with their foot skills and they're starting to get a bit of flow, but that all started from Lockie Whitfield's kick. And if you leave Toby Green out 50 metres by himself, he's going to nail that in his sleep.
And it's a bit of that risk v reward, isn't it, Brogues? If you're prepared to take it, the risk is that you turn it over and potentially score against, but if you hit it, that's the result. And what about the work of Brown in the middle? Just the smarts to hit it forward.
To hit it over his head.
Yeah, absolutely. Unbelievable.
Giants by 6 at Kardinia Park. It's the Cats by 46 over the Bombers at quarter time. Bounce in the middle. Briggs rises for the Giants. Tapped it straight in the path of Kelly. He's been lively early. Gave it off to Ward. Heads into the arc again for the Giants. Butts in front position. Double fist down to Miller. Got away from Daniels in the end. Nice spin. And back to Hinch. Falling back with the kick. He exits the arc. Justin Warrell-Brave flew. Pulled in the mark and it wasn't paid. Lee Howson had direct line of sight and didn't give it to him.
And you're right, Brogue. The game has sort of opened up a little bit, hasn't it, in the last couple of minutes? Contested possessions at the moment, 25-23, GWS +2 and tackle count +5 in favour of the Giants.
Ball up just outside the arc. Thilthorpe won it down, but it's not going too far. Another one to come. Still about 55 out for the Giants, who are up by 6.
And again, just reiterates, over the last 4 or 5 weeks, their pressure, they're ranked 4th in the competition.
And it's showing tonight, isn't it? They're just starting to edge in a few statistics, the Giants.
Yep.
Thilthorpe down to Green. As it turned out, he sent it forward. No mark, play on. Bedford gets it in that scoreboard pocket. Tries to go with the banana. It went across the goals, hit the behind post.
And one of those statistics is clearances. They're +4 now, just starting to break away from stoppage a little bit too easy at the moment.
Keys to bring the ball in for Adelaide.
Long up to the broadcast wing. Good fly late, crunching the pack. Himmelberg and Briggs. Spilled down to Cumming. Handball out to Whitfield, now Ward. Alone at centre half forward. Dummies inside of Jones. Has a bounce from 45. This would be something special. Callan Ward has missed. Minor score on the right-hand side. Very close to the goalpost. The Giants up by 7. 3-2-20. Adelaide 2-1-13. Still plenty of time left in this opening term here at the Adelaide Oval.
And they're +6 inside 50s. A few concerns for Matthew Nixon, the Adelaide coaching staff.
Smith plays on for Adelaide. Goes long for McAdam. He gets the ball to ground after being muscled out of it to start with by Cumming, and finally he forces the 50-50 ball up. Close to the boundary line, right half back on the broadcast side for the Crows. In comes Thilthorpe. He gets it down. Perryman gets it for the Giants. Sends it back inside 50. Hogan takes a chest mark. Got ahead of Buttons, who couldn't get around him. And Hogan will have a look at the goal face from 35 out, 45-degree angle.
We spoke pre-game about Keys maybe going to Kelly. Looks like Chase Jones has gone to Kelly, but you know Kelly's had 6 possessions to date and had a bit of an influence on this game. So Adelaide might want to think about what they're doing with that matchup. And again, Hogan playing in front.
Number 2 pick 11 years ago when he was first picked up by Melbourne. He's been through Fremantle and he's found his way to the Giants, and he's found a minor score in this case. So the Giants move along to 3-3-21. Adelaide 2-1-13 late in the opening quarter.
Wayne Miller to bring it back into play. Rooson straight up towards the square. Thilthorpe presents. Great contested mark up against Sam Taylor, who's no easy opponent. Thilthorpe right half back. Actually entered the round ranked 10th in the league for contested marks. Adding that to his resume, he heads up to right half forward looking for O'Brien. Couldn't claim the pat mark, and off hands it rolls over the boundary line.
As you said, late in this first quarter, but as I said, the Matthew Nix and the Adelaide Crows coaching staff, a few headaches. Contested possessions +6, tackle count +7, inside 50s +7 at the moment. It's all the Giants.
And Giants +5 in clearances, so they're just starting to flex their muscle a bit, the Giants.
Short throw in will be recalled. Just on that, when they met in round 1, Giants, in fact, they've got a free kick here to Kelly off the ball, so he takes it inboard straight away to Whitfield. Milestone man goes down the line with a dart. Great kick, finds Daniels, plays on immediately from inside the square. He goes inside the 50. Hogan at the front. Ball comes off to Hinge for Adelaide. Hand passes for Murphy. Murphy goes to pick it up, dragged down in a tackle. It's now with Bedford, and Bedford goes into the forward pocket, and the intercept mark taken by Worrell for the Crows.
Just the Giants' ability to come forward and keep pressure on the ball carrier has been exceptional. Denying him time and space.
Worrell heads to the eastern side. Dawson got a sit, couldn't control it. Threw his hands at the back. Thilthorpe tumbles one through the centre square. It's 1-on-1 with an empty 50. Fogarty gets rid of Buckley, fends him off, just has to head from home. Fogarty from 50 loads up and misses. Minor score on the right-hand side. 2-2-14 Adelaide. The Giants 3-3-21 at the 25-minute mark of the opening term. Josh Money on the boundary.
Yeah, the boys have alluded to the Josh Kelly problem. Chase Jones, not usually a tagger, but just gave that free kick away off the ball before. Certainly struggling against the Giants staff.
Whitfield plays on from fullback, eastern side. Hogan gets it to the front. It's come to Kelly. Quick hand pass to Ward. And then wide he goes with his hand pass. Adelaide managed to turn it over. It's come to Rochelle. He drives along to the goal face, but to the right. Whitfield gets back, takes it comfortably. Brings it now this broadcast side short to Himmelberg. Newly minted defender Himmelberg. Inboard, Ash with the mark.
Contract year for the former pick 4, although reports are he will be staying at GWS. Lockie Ash looks to exit defensive 50. Spots Himmelberg. Speaking of out-of-contract players, here's one who may be leaving this club at the end of the season. Himmelberg called to play on. He'll sky it up through the western wing. O'Brien battling with Briggs. Late came Brown, brought it to ground. Jones was front and square. Hands it to Worrell. Adelaide back inside 50. Fogarty again breaks away and driving forward. Launched himself into the fall of the footy and takes the mark on the arc of 50. Tight angle to the right.
Well, we talked about Taylor Walker started the game really well, but Fogarty's the one at the moment that's looking the most dangerous forward for the Crows. He's lining up for his 8th disposal and it's having a huge influence on this game at the minute.
You'd back him from here, 50 out on an angle. Most players probably not, but this guy can kick this goal. What a mark.
So Darcy Fogarty starts outside the boundary line, right half forward. Man on the mark, 47 out. Fogarty kicks just outside the arc. It's not curling enough. Straight line kick on the right-hand goalpost. Ended up being a minor score. Adelaide 2-3-15. The Giants 3-3-21 as we approach the 30-minute mark of this opening term. It's a poor exit, though, from the Giants. Tumbling kick from Cumming is cut off by Laird. Gets it to Rochelle. Shrugs the tackle. Heads for home. Showtime! Josh Rochelle. He lights up the Adelaide Oval crowd and levels the score once again. 3-3-21 apiece. 28 played in the opening term on Grandstand AFL.
Oh, Isaac Cumming, wish he'd have that back again. An absolute shocking kick in, and you just cannot do that against Adelaide with their small forwards. And Rochelle, geez, I love the way he celebrates. He's got some spunk, this kid, and what a kick. Splits the middle. And Adelaide have been coming. They've been inside 50 11 times and almost scored every time they've gone in. So they are, when they are coming, if it does get inside 50, they are having shots on goal. So what a goal. Isaac Cumming, that's a mulligan.
He doesn't get it back, though. We go with that goal.
He doesn't want it back just yet.
He might see it on Monday, though.
So here we go, back in the middle, late in the opening term, 3-3 apiece. Umpire said a block, free kick GWS. Green breaks away, it's play on advantage, and his kick long is picked up by, well, first reaction there from Murray with the intercept, chest mark, sends it out on the eastern side. Not a great kick. Angwin took the mark, looked inboard. He's decided to hold up, 60 from goal. Now called to play on, arcs onto the left foot, sends it into the forward pocket, comes off hands to O'Brien, hand pass to I think he was trying to rush it through. In the end, it's toe poked towards the line by one of the Giants. It might have been Hogan in the end. Adelaide does rush it through, as they tried to do a couple of times. It's in the hand of Josh Worrell as he comes out to look at kicking it back in. GWS by 1 point.
Exit from the Crows. Long ball out towards the broadcast wing over the head of Fogarty. Pedler did well at the back. Gathered against two. Turned inside. An awkward kick that bounced for Keys, who charges in and bounces off Perryman. Both pop up okay. Heads towards the logo. Spinning tackle late on Kelly by Keys. Ricocheted out towards Dawson. Now Worrell. Heads up towards half forward. Murphy presents. Turns and goes in the path of Rochelle. Left forward pocket. Good rundown tackle from Taylor. Rochelle caught. We'll get a ball up.
Lloyd's really sore from that big hit. He's up running now, but he looks in a world of hurt.
That was that big collision with Keys.
Massive. Keys bounced straight up. Jeez, he's tough, Keysy.
So tossed up just inside the arc. Briggs won it down. Ward coming through, caught in the tackle. Came out to Murphy. Centres his kick for the Crows. Getting a fly, or McAdam nearly did, but was forced out of it by Himmelberg. It clears the pack and tumbles over the right forward pocket. Arguably could have been a free there. Himmelberg stuck an arm out and actually caught McAdam high and prevented him from launching. Instead, we'll get a boundary throw in front of the Riverbank stand.
Last opportunity for Adelaide, you'd think, for the quarter as the ball comes in. Comes off O'Brien, sort of, and then Fogarty can't break clear of the tackle. As it bounced up to him, he was immediately grabbed by Buckley. Ball will go in the air again. O'Brien gets the tap out towards Fogarty again, and the boundary line at the same time. He couldn't shake Buckley off again, could Fogarty? And so we'll get another throw in.
I think Adelaide have made that change. You can see Keys has gone to Kelly, although Kelly's on Keys because it's in their back 50, but I think that's definitely the matchup now. They've made the change.
Briggs and Philthorpe do battle. Boundary throw in clears both of them due to a hold that will go Adelaide's way. Take your pick, both were wrapped up, but it's going to the home side. Riley Philthorpe to receive it. 35 out, slight angle to the right.
It's one of those coach killers. There's 15 seconds left on the clock of this first quarter, and they give away a stoppage free kick shot on goal.
These ruck infringements, they can never work. I've been a ruckman all my life. You can never work them out, even when you are playing. So it's costly for the Giants.
Free kick to Riley Thilthorpe on the quarter-time siren to give the Crows the lead heading into the first break. 16-3 for the year. Thilthorpe, the long approach, leans back on the kick. Excellent finish. And Adelaide snatched the lead at the first change. The Crows up by 5, 4-3-27 to the Giants, 3-4-22. Goal scorers at the first break, all individual for the home side. Thilthorpe, Rochelle, Walker and Laird. For the visitors, Green, Hogan and Brown. Great to have you with us this evening on ABC Radio, News Radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app. This is Grandstand AFL.
Hi, this is Craig Rucastle. I'd love you to join me to continue the war on waste. I'll be doing some investigating to find out where our waste is coming from.
Half a ton of food. Chuck it out.
And sharing some practical tips on the little, big and somewhere in the middle things that you can do to reduce your waste and protect our planet.
Are you up for the challenge?
Join me for Season 3 of The War on Waste. Starts Tuesday night, July 25 on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Toss back in, Crows attacking 50. Walker took it out of the ruck, handed it to Laird, and the Crows strike first in the opening minute. Off the ruck contest, Daniels gets the clearance for the Giants. An errant kick into the 50 that hits the chest of the leading Hogan. Put 3 goals on the Crows in the opening round of the season. Jesse Hogan, almost an awkward ball drop, but it won't matter. Straight over the goal umpire's hat.
Finds Fogarty. Murphy's out behind him. Walker's inside 50 as well. Goes with a left foot for Walker. 25 out. Can't take the mark. Recovery beautiful. Onto his left foot and kicks the goal. And O'Brien got the ball down. Bedford was there briefly. The hand pass came back to Brown. The snap for goal. And the Giants have the second. Off to Ash through the middle of the ground. He finds Green by himself. He was 55 out, allowed to play on. Boom, goal. And the Giants hit the front.
Approach the 30-minute mark of this opening term. It's a poor exit, though, from the Giants. Tumbling kick from Cumming is cut off by Laird. Gets it to Rochelle. Shrugs the tackle. Heads for home. Showtime! Josh Rochelle. Free kick to Riley Thilthorpe on the quarter-time siren to give the Crows the lead heading into the first break. Thilthorpe, the long approach, leans back on the kick. Excellent finish.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
It's had a bit of everything so far. A seesawing contest between 10th and 11th with a spot in the 8 on the line. And Adelaide has snatched the lead at the first break off the boots of Riley Thilthorpe. They're up by 5 points over GWS, 4-3-27 to 3-4-22. Second term underway at Cardinia Park as well. Geelong currently lead Essendon by 48 points, 8-8-56 to 1-2-8. Aaron Bryans, Neil Cross with you for the call here, alongside Dean Brogan and Josh Franco. And Josh Money's downstairs with some news.
Yeah, Aaron, just keeping an eye on Josh Rochelle for the Crows. Right at the end of that first term, he came off and pointed to his lower left leg with the doctor and then had a trainer look at it as well. So Ned McHenry having a little bit of a warm-up. He looks all right at the moment, but certainly one to watch heading into this second term.
It'd certainly be a blow if they lose Josh Rochelle early. The thoughts of the opening term, Dean Brogan and Josh Franco.
Well, it was a tight, tough contest, wasn't it, Bros? And we talked about that pre-game that we were expecting to do that. And expecting to see that. The Giants ranked, I think, 4th in the competition for applied pressure on the opposition over the last few weeks. So we expected it, and that's exactly what we got. Probably, I reckon, about the 20-minute mark of that first quarter, it was starting to get away from Adelaide, wasn't it? We looked at some of the numbers. Contested ball, they were getting smashed. They were getting smashed in tackles, and they were getting smashed in the inside 50s. But overall, they're able to balance off those contested possessions. They're still down in the tackle count and the inside 50s and the clearances. But that late goal to Thilthorpe to put the Crows in front, probably against the flow of play.
Yeah, well, both teams are having really good moments, aren't they? When Giants look like they're going forward, they look like they're going to kick a goal.
Yep.
When Adelaide go inside 50, they look like they're actually going to kick a goal. So the game sort of opened up after that first 10, 15 minutes. But, Adelaide fought back in that last 5 minutes of that quarter. But, they got the Chase Jones, Josh Kelly matchup wrong. Josh Kelly's had 9 and looks really damaging. But to Adelaide's credit, the message goes down, Keys goes onto him. So they've tidied that up, and we'll see how that plays out for the rest of the game. But Jordan Dawson only 2 possessions, so Adelaide did well for their captain to only have 2 possessions and be in front at quarter time. So look, it's a really hot contested game, and both teams would be pretty happy with that quarter, I would have thought.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we talked about the inside 50 differential +6 to the Giants, I guess an area of concern for Matthew Nicks and the coaching staff at Adelaide would be their two running back defenders are the leading possession winners at the moment. Smith's had 8, Miller has had 8, and also Hinge has had 5 disposals. A lot of their mids, we've got Laird who's had 7 touches, but you mentioned Dawson. Sloan hasn't had a huge impact on the game as well. Keys we've spoken about as well. Their midfield guys need to get going a little bit.
Well, the Giants' midfield's in control at the moment, and Adelaide's halfbacks and Adelaide's forwards are the leading possession getters at the moment. So Adelaide's midfield, I'm sure that's what they would have talked about at quarter time. So look for them to bounce back this quarter.
So, bros, we spoke to Nathan Van Berlo on SO Grandstand this morning, and the words that he said when we asked him about a possible tag was, we'll wait and see and we'll make a call based on how dominant they are. And in the end, Kelly 9, Whitfield 8 and Cornelio 6. Do you pull the trigger now?
Well, look, I think you got to put Keys onto someone. I think Keys plays his best footy when he's on someone. So you've got him in the midfield. He's got to go to someone. So I think they definitely got that wrong with Jones. But Kelly is a hard person to tag. As we said, he's going to start on a wing, and Jones is going to go back to him. So I think when he goes on ball in the middle, Keys has to go to him.
He's in the centre circle at the moment, Ben Keys. It's just a matter of who he's going to line up on. I reckon the Giants have pulled the old switcheroo to make sure he won't have a hard tag, because they've gone with Perryman and Ward to start this centre bounce alongside Stephen Cornelio. Adelaide by 5 points. Second term underway here at the Adelaide Oval as Keys stands next to Callan Ward. Nice high bounce as Briggs rises early. O'Brien stayed down, and a beautiful tap to Laird, who gave it off to Dawson. Early entry for the Crows. Charging back across though, Taylor with a nice intercept mark. Almost uncontested in the end as he floated across the pack and pops it short to Iden.
And Turney just dropped it in short, too short as it turns out. Ash will run away with a couple of bounces right across the goal face, and then finally he comes down the line. Intercept mark taken by Hinge between two Giants. One of them not much of a giant in Bedford, and the other one was Briggs, the ruckman. Drives with that left foot, 25 from goal. Walker up behind. Oh, he got up and over and took a mark. And Walker will go back and have a look at the goals from about 35 out.
But Josh, you called it. The Giants are running out of the back. The Giants forwards were still in their forward half. They needed to get up and give the young Giants player who's running out the back someone to kick to, and really good mark by Taylor. Walker's a turnover, and Walker takes a great contested mark.
So Walker, every now and then, has a bit of a hiccup from this sort of range. Comes in, not this time. Not this time, and the Crows extend their lead to 11 points. And this time Walker does have his second. I might have given it to him earlier in the first quarter. So it's 5-3-33 the Crows against the Giants 3-4-22, a minute and a half down in the second term. Josh Money on the boundary.
Crossy, sometimes all it takes is new clothes to make you feel better. Josh Riccelli just changing his boots now. Hopefully that sorts out his lower leg issue.
And you talk about Taylor Walker, has a few hiccups from that range. Gee whiz, he's a good kick though, isn't he? He is gun barrel straight, and I reckon if there was anyone in the competition from 45 to 50 taking a shot on goal, I'd put my house on Taylor Walker to kick it. Just a magnificent shot for goal, and a good contested mark, as we said.
Game high 11-point margin for the Adelaide Crows as they strike first in this second term.
Where's he on the Coleman?
Good question.
Leading it.
We'll have to check on the Charlie Kirk's performance today. So I'll pull it up for you, Josh. In the meantime, Briggs takes it out of the ruck through the hands of Perryman. Keys soccers off the deck up towards half forward. Murphy breaks away from Whitfield. Curled his kick inside looking for Walker, but again Taylor cuts it off. His 5th intercept possession of the night so far. First in the league per game for them.
Yeah, Adelaide have really started well out of the centre bounce. We talked about their mids at quarter time. They've really started well this quarter.
Couple of short passes. Whitfield, the second of them, and now he's dropped it in short to Himmelberg. Still inside defensive 50, right half back for the Giants, and then Himmelberg returns the favour to Whitfield, who drops it just inside the centre square, and away they go. Ash took it, played on immediately, scrubbed the kick but got it to Daniels, who then handballed to Perryman, then out wide was Angwin. No, it's off to Ware. So Ware was out wide and then into the forward pocket with his kick. He found Bedford, so he marks it. Jacob Ware. Just a note, on his return to the side. He hasn't played since round 2. In round 1, he was hit hard by Shane McAdam, and McAdam is playing his first game since round 1.
And really good ball movement there from the Giants, wasn't it? Whitfield was outstanding just in terms of his work rate to hit that 45 and then back himself, hitting the ball back through the corridor.
So Bedford makes his run in from over the boundary. In the left forward pocket, kicks a goal, kicks across the goal, and in fact it won't be a score. Yes, it will. Just got inside the behind post for the minus score. Margin 10 points in favour of Adelaide. As Hinge lines up, he wanted to bring the ball in quickly. Now he's paused for reflection.
So Taylor Walker still at the top of the Coleman tally, tied with Charlie Curnow, who had 3 goals earlier today. Kick out to right half back. Presenting was Brodie Smith. And couldn't take the mark under pressure, so over the boundary line it'll go.
Whitfield up to 10 possessions. He's having a real impact on this game. You just mentioned him just before, Josh. He's bounced off half-back, starting to worry Adelaide.
Toss back into play. Off a couple of hands. Won't go too far. Inside the Giants attacking 50 as Dawson's wrapped up by Cornelio.
He's also going at 90% efficiency too.
O'Brien slaps it down. Was looking for Miller, beaten to it by Hogan. Overhead handball found Laird though, and Miller can clear for the Crows with an errant kick out to right half back. Big fight falling on his head. Harry Himmelberg really committed to the intercept. Taylor sat underneath it to take the intercept mark, and Himmelberg thankfully has popped up okay.
Yeah, that could have been nasty.
Spun in the air and fell on his head. Taylor sends it straight back into the 50. Here's a launch from Hogan. He couldn't control it either. Dawson down to Laird. Now charging through Hinge. Gives it to Pedler. Trying to spin away from Perryman. Did well. Back to Laird and the handball chain. Heads to left half back. Jones and Murphy will centre his kick and slow things down through Worrell.
Worrell's on this broadcast side. In fact, it was Michael Annie. And Michael Annie goes back to Butts in the right back pocket. He looks out on the eastern side for the switch. Goes out there. Ball off hands towards the boundary line and forcing it over the Crows. So we'll get a throw in on the eastern side. Crows at right half back.
Crossy, one player I really like for Adelaide at the moment is Lockie Murphy. Bit unheralded, but he does a lot of the hack work up and down the ground, finds the ball. Already had 8 disposals for the game, and he's having an influence.
Bit of a favourite for Matthew Nix as the ruckmen negate each other. Don't touch it. Ball comes down. Dawson picks it up.
Here he is again.
Fakes to go out, goes in. Here's Murphy with the mark. Hand pass off to Dawson. Arcs across the square with his kick. What a beautiful kick it was too. He found Pedler, who went inside forward 50. It wasn't to Rankin's advantage. Still came to ground. Chase Jones was there. Flipped up the hand pass. Rankin couldn't get away from the tackle. And it'll be Cumming who receives the free kick. It's going to come back. And Cumming will take the free kick in the right back pocket for the Giants.
Just sense the Crows supporters a bit restless with the umpires. Free kicks are 7-3 in favour of the Giants. They're not all that happy with the men in green.
The captain of Adelaide, Dawson's really had started this quarter exceptionally well. He needed to. He had a very quiet first quarter. He's really stepped up this quarter.
10-point lead to Adelaide. Coming to Kelly at right half back. Heads through the broadcast wing. Big fight, a heavy landing from Hogan. He landed flat on his back as he launched over the pack. He's very sore. Meanwhile, towards the arc, picked up. Green was caught high, plays on anyway, hands it off to Daniels close to the boundary line. He'll centre his kick to the top of the goal square. Brown's the target, but Murray launched himself in the sandwich and takes the intercept mark for the Crows.
Geez, he's a good player, Murray. I really love how he comes off and marks the footy for a big fella. I really like Murray.
The thing is, he's a bit vertically challenged compared to the other big defenders, but he's just got he's got such a great leap. So the ball down the ground, and Brodie Smith has knocked it over the boundary line. The umpire said insufficient intent. Whitfield will take the free kick for the Giants. Coming up for possession, number 11, Lockie Whitfield, in game number 200. Kicks it inside 50, high. O'Brien comes across for Adelaide, knocks it off the pack. Angwin makes the tackle on Smith, and the ball's held in there, and the umpire surely, and does, call for a ball up in the right forward pocket for the Giants.
We might have to keep an eye on Hogan after that big impact with the ground in that marking contest. He's come off looking a little bit worse for wear.
We'll check in with Josh in a moment. Briggs down on the path of Angwin, hands it inside to Ward. Curling it into the arc for GWS. Green was underneath it but couldn't fly. Off a couple of hands. Bedford tried to give it off to Cadman. Couldn't control it. Clearing kick for the Crows to Walker. Paddles it off. Good gather by McAdam inside the Keys. They're bursting through the square. Keys faked it off to Laird and instead gave it back to McAdam. Heads out to the eastern side to Scholl. Committing was Brown. He shouldn't have. Scholl stayed down, marked and went. Up towards right half forward. Pops it over the top to Worrell. Just a bit stagnant now. Worrell will sky it towards the scoreboard pocket. Trying to launch was Pedler. Nudged out of it before he could launch. Off hands. Picked up by Perryman. He'll clear it with a scrubber kick up towards the square, but sitting back. Miller intercepts. Wants to play on. Heads to the left forward pocket. Miller, great kick to Thilthorpe.
What a great
Dawson
mark.
has taken the mark. 25 out. Tight angle to the left.
Because they did that well, Adelaide. When they moved the footy, they had no forward, so they had to hold and go sideways and be patient and assess what was going on. It looked a bit stagnant, as you just called, Aaron, but they had to slow it down because they had no forwards.
So Jordan Dawson has the footy. We'll start on the fence. A little bit wider of where he kicked the after the siren winner in the showdown. Starts it right once again, and again it's coming back, but not enough. Minor score on the right-hand side.
Huge quarter, Dawson. Huge quarter. He's up to 5 possessions, going at 80% efficiency.
11-point lead for the Crows. 5-4-34 plays 3-5-23. 10 minutes into the second term.
So everybody pauses and waits. Ash brings the ball in for the Giants. Sends it wide. Cadman was manhandled by Murray, who took a strong mark at left half forward. Adelaide will go forward again. Murray sends it high towards the top of the goal square. Ball comes to ground. Iden got the hand pass out. Murphy with the smother of the kick. And then Chase Jones put his head over the ball. Was he taken high? Umpire said no, ball up, left forward pocket for the Crows.
It just highlights the value of those small pressure forwards, doesn't it, bro? It's just their ability to apply pressure to the ball carrier, get the smother and lock it in your forward 50.
Tossed up. A couple of hands coming with the check side exit, only carried about 15 and it's enough as Dawson slides in again, takes the intercept mark on the pain of 50. Slightly better angle this time on the left hand side.
This isn't outside his range either, guys.
Well, that's what happens, Josh. You lock the ball in, you get another chance, don't you?
Yeah.
Doesn't quite get a long approach to this one, but he certainly launches it. It curls across the face, fisted back into the field of play, and it rolls in front of the scoreboard for a boundary throw-in. It
was almost a gentle 7-iron, wasn't it? Didn't even launch into it. It went about 55 metres from Dawson.
Good result, as it turns out. Crows get a stoppage inside 50 rather than turning the ball over with a behind.
Keep your eyes on Rankin here.
In comes the ball. And Briggs got to the front, got it down to Taylor, who cleared it away for the Giants. Into the centre square, Green, great masterful use of the body, took the mark. Forward he goes to the kick. Murray back there, read it best, read it early and took the mark and tries to switch straight away. Miller in defensive 50, brings it out to Dawson. Dawson holds it up. Centre half back was Laird. He drops it in short for him. Laird drops it in short for Miller. Just inside the centre square. Just holding, waiting. Crows trying to pick their moment. Miller drops it wide for Dawson. Let's go down to the boundary and Josh Money.
Yeah, good news for the Giants, Crossy. Jesse Hogan came straight to the ground after that big fall, but appears to be fine now, ready to come back on.
Hinge now has the footy, defensive edge of the square. Josh Fay, the sub for the Giants, if needed later tonight. Heading up down the line. Good launch from Pedler over the top of O'Brien. Got a fair bit of height, but couldn't reel it in. Now Rochelli's wrapped up in the tackle by Perryman. He gave him a bit of afters as well. Drove him into the turf, and it's on. They come in from everywhere. Crows not happy at all with the treatment, and a free kick will go Adelaide's way. O'Brien plays on while the scuffle ensues. Into the 50 they go, a little bit too high for Thilthorpe. Walker wrenches it away, caught in the tackle, got it out to Keys. A tumbling kick towards goal, bounces perfectly. Adelaide capitalise on the ill discipline of the Giants and extend the margin to 17 points. 6-4-40, plays 3-5-23. 13 minutes into the second term on Grandstand AFL. Your experts Steve Brogan and Josh Franco.
Well, when Keys rolled that through the goals, I was looking at the boundary, and Adam Kingsley in his big puffer jacket just turned around in disgust. And we talk about the ill discipline of the Giants on that occasion. Was it Perryman, I think it was, who gave that free kick away? They're so hard to come by goals. You can't give them away on a platter like the Giants just did.
Well, Adelaide are starting to control the game, aren't they? They're plus 18 in possessions, and their midfield's starting to get on top now. We spoke about it at quarter time that Adelaide's midfield need to lift. Dawson's up to 8 possessions, going at 75%, and Rory Laird's had 5 this quarter as well. They're just starting to get on top in all parts of the game at the moment.
And the game's being played in their front half.
Kelly in for the centre bounce for the Giants. Goes high. Almost came to Kelly, it did. Flicked out a hand pass. Keys took it away though. Gave it to Dawson for Adelaide. Down to half forward he goes. Rankin with the mark. Out wide near the boundary line. On this broadcast side goes into the pocket. Getting a leap was McAdam. He had a couple of opponents in orange and they knocked the ball over the boundary line.
Crossy, we spoke about Kelly, a potential game breaker for the Giants. Dawson's had 10 disposals. I reckon the Giant coaching staff will be sitting there scratching their heads thinking we need to shut this bloke out of the game.
Jim McAdams saw the keys to a car there. He thought he had an absolute sitter. Toss back in. No one opposes Walker in the ruck. Fends off the tackler. Snaps from 30. Can't finish. Gee, he was the everyman, Taylor Walker. But just couldn't cap it off with a major. 6-5-41. Adelaide lead the Giants 3-5-23.
Just with brute strength out of the ruck. I love seeing that. Where the forward ruck grabs it, gives a stiff arm and has a shot on goal.
Whitfield plays on from the square, drives it out longer to this broadcast side. Ball comes to the ground, held in. And umpire eventually is going to surely decide on a ball up, and he does.
Crossy, just on that as well, I reckon there's 2 guys that do it, Walker and Hawkins from Geelong. You know they're going to do it, but it's hard stopping them at those forward 50 stoppages, taking it out of the ruck.
Charlie Dixon doesn't mind doing it.
He doesn't mind it either.
So the ball off the ruck contest. Ward had it, tackled by Dawson, tapped it out. Adelaide trying to force it back where they've got players. In the end, the ball's caught among a couple, and we'll get a ball up. Dawson in there with a tackle on Cornelio, and Cornelio eventually will surrender the ball to the umpire.
Tossed up close to the boundary line. Brown got a hand to it. A couple of tackles laid.
Aaron, just having a look at this stoppage as well. Toby Green as the forwards come up, and now looking behind the ball for Adelaide, we got Michael Annie, who's sitting almost as that wicket keeper as the last line of defence.
Sloan wrapped up by a few. They'll go again. This time off hands. Dawson got it out and may have caught one eye in the process. He's a little sore, Jordan Dawson, as he heads towards the boundary line. Meanwhile, we'll get a boundary throw in as Keys escorts it over.
Just on that, Josh, it's worked for him too. We saw just before Toby Green looked up and actually kicked the ball straight back to Adelaide. So the extra is helping Adelaide at the moment.
Toss back in, O'Brien. Beautiful tap over his head to Jones, who gave it to Smith. Spent it before he earned it. Now Jones trying to fight it forward, and they give away a high free kick. That was a magnificent play that just wasn't finished by Brodie Smith. Anglin receives the free kick for the Giants. Inside he hits Himmelberg. They turn and go. Whitfield through the corridor. Down the line to Green. Turns straight into Worrell, who lost his foot. Green tumbles it into the 50. Bounced off Smith. Hinge charging through. Bulldozed a couple and got it to Jones. And they exit Adelaide on the counter through the western wing.
Shelley looked up, didn't have anything available. Taking his time. Now he plays on. Just wanders around. Kelly releases the hand pass wide from McElhaney. He goes down to half forward high with the kick. Coming late was Taylor through the hands. Tap forward for Rankin. Oh, he couldn't make up his mind. Umpire spotted a kick behind play.
I just saw it. It happened behind play. Rochelle went up to Perryman, and it was, again, just ill-discipline from Rochelle on that occasion. Adelaide had momentum. It's inside their forward 50. Well, the umpire was all over it. Hey?
He got the free kick initially.
I know. I just don't get it. Just a brain fade there from Rochelle.
So it'll be Perryman to take the free kick. He thought he had 50. In fact, he does have 50.
And what I will say is that Perryman was into Rochelle. He drew the free kick. He did it well, but Rochelle just couldn't control his emotions, and a little bit silly. And he's dirty. He's just come off for a spell, Rochelle.
So Perryman Man on the mark at the point of the centre square, right half forward. Drives it into the forward pocket, off hands and shoulders and over the boundary line, and Adelaide's got one down behind play. Worrell was slow to get up, but he's okay. Ball to be thrown in.
Josh, just quickly, is Jordan Dawson looking okay down there?
Yeah, Dawson's fine. His main priority right now is actually trying to calm down Josh Rochelle. Went straight to him as he came off the bench and is trying to calm him down after Himmelberg had come off and Rochelle lined him up straight away.
Toss back in, Philthorpe won it down, then was tackled without the footy. And Adelaide will receive the free kick. Riley Philthorpe in the left back pocket. I reckon Dawson may have caught one below the belt earlier, which is why he came off a little proppy, but good to go. Philthorpe exits to the broadcast wing. Fogarty flies. Buckley did as well with the fist for the Giants. Jones slides in. Anglin wraps him up. Ball up to come close to the boundary line, right half forward for the Giants.
We spoke about the contested possession differential in the first quarter in the Giants' favour. It's now +7 Adelaide's way, and that's been the momentum swing.
Kelly came out of the contest, gave it to Whitfield by hand, and then Angwin tumbles a kick inside 50 for the Giants. Murray, who's been strong back there, came through, couldn't get a clean possession. Ash has it for the Giants into the forward pocket towards the boundary line. And it just rolls over, and that will not be insufficient intent. He was being tackled as he kicked it.
Can you believe that?
Oh, well, you know, it is the Adelaide Oval, whether it's the Crows fans or the Power fans, they want everything.
Fair call.
25 around from the goal face, left forward pockets for the Giants.
Adelaide by 18. Philthorpe front position. Up against Brown, won it down. Murray with the handball to Laird, who's dumped heavy in the tackle by Ware. Play continues. Giants have the footy. Throwing it out there was Cornelio. Keys cut it off. Gets it wide. Little 1-2 with Scholl and Murphy. The return handball a little dangerous. And Buckley escorts Scholl over the boundary line in front of the Foss Williams stand. Josh Money downstairs.
Yeah, we're hearing that Josh Rochelle was actually reported for either striking or rough conduct with that incident with Harry Perryman. So that'll be one to watch with the MRO during the week.
So ball to come in out on the eastern side. It's Brown opposed to Philthorpe, who got the tap his way. Ball to ground though, in dispute. Kelly slipped out the hand pass. Cornelio got it forward. It's tapped on to Kelly. Releases a hand pass then to Perryman inside 50. He goes with a kick. Murray was strong, so was Butts. Knocked it to ground. Adelaide have some numbers there. They've got to organise themselves, and Hinge goes with a hand pass towards Chase Jones, who didn't do a lot to try and stop that ball from going through for the minor score for the Giants.
But what also happens as well, when you've got field position, you know how hard it is to move the ball out of your back 50 these days because sides set up so well defensively. That turnover from Rochelle, it's now lived in the Giants' front half the last 2 or 3 minutes.
Adelaide's defence is really holding up. They've been under pump, like you said, Josh, the last 5 minutes, but their pressure and their defending 1v1 has been elite.
Time on in the second term. Crows by 17, and Laird breaks away with his exit. Just brushed off the attempted tackle from Perryman. Got it to Butts. Heads up to right half forward. Strong pack mark by Philthorpe. Floated across. Gave it to Sloan. Speared it towards his best mate, his teammate, Taylor Walker. Gathered on the bounce. Off to Pedler. He's running out of room. Darting and weaving. His kick under pressure is a turnover. Back towards Whitfield for the Giants, who gives it to Taylor. And now Iden in the right back pocket. Meanwhile at Cardinia Park, half-time there, Geelong lead Essendon by 44 points, 9-10-64 to the Bombers 3-2-20.
Geez, they got lucky there, the Giants. If Sloan hits that kick, it's almost a certain goal to walk. He just missed the kick, and luckily for the Giants, they hold on.
Oh, Iden went across to Ash. He played on 2 bounces, scrubbed the kick under pressure. Now it comes forward from Sloan to Walker. He couldn't do anything with the ball before he's tackled. The ball spewed out to Iden. Down the line he goes, high with a junk kick, well taken by Cadman. And the youngster gets up, takes his time, looks inboard, nothing available. Forced to go down the line.
Cadman through centre wing. Early fly from Hogan through his hands. Laird was there to Crumb. Gave it off to Hinge. Broke through the Angwin tackle. Got it to Butts. Then Philthorpe just had to kick about 5 metres. A grubber. Picked up well by Worrell. Pierced it up towards the 50. Just a little wide of Fogarty. And out of the full. Free kick to GWS.
Laird's up to 15 possessions now. He's having a monster quarter. Going at 100% efficiency. So his ball use has been elite.
So Adelaide by 17 points. 22 and a half into the quarter. And Taylor went with a short kick looking for Ware. He was under pressure from Miller, but umpire said he held it long enough, just inside the boundary here. Broadcast side. Giants attacking the Torrens River end of the ground. Down the line goes the kick. Tapped out by Kelly to Ward to Whitfield. And then he tried to return the hand pass with no luck. Crows intercept. Keys got it out to Miller. Then a forward hand pass looking for Pedler. Picks it up inside 50. A dart. And gee, Fogarty. It wasn't meant for him. He got it with one grip or one grab. And then as it bounced up, I thought he was a little lax in trying to get the second grab. And it goes over the boundary line. We get a throw in right on 50 for the Crows.
Had a chance to see the vision on the Josh Rochelle report, Crossy, and it's an elbow to Jack Buckley well after the Harry Perryman incident. Almost just a way to try and brush him off, but it was way too high, and he was certainly cop a week for that. Meanwhile, Briggs takes it out of the ruck, exiting for the Giants, tumbling footy up to centre wing. Sitting back was Michael Lanny. Couldn't control it under pressure from Cadman. Kelly swarms, kicks into the 50. It's a one-on-one. Hogan bounced off Murray, but couldn't claim it as he fell back with the footy. Now Michael Annie, spun in the tackle, hands it out to Dawson, then Murray. They'll look to exit the Crows through the spine. It's a long kick, and they have the numbers if they work it well. Philthorpe uses the body on Buckley. Laird charges through, handball smothered. Pedler keeps running, soccers it in front of Rankin in the scoreboard pocket. Iden edges him away from the footy. The Giants did very well. Iden battling, outnumbered, and kept slapping it forward. And finally they can exit, or can they? Himmelberg went to kick, was tackled late, dropped the footy, heading for home. Rochelle's kick is a minor score on the left-hand side.
His Iden's 1v1v Rankin. There's nothing more nervous than it being one-on-one with Rankin in the goal square. It was a terrific win by the young fella.
Wasn't even a behind in the end. So out on the full free kick to the Giants.
What about the composure of Michael Annie as well for a first-year player down back? Just awesome.
Plays like a veteran, doesn't he?
He does.
Ash plays on from the free kick, sends it down the line. O'Brien almost had the mark, not quite. Now he releases a hand pass for Smith. Inside 50, Fogarty went up and he couldn't take the mark. Shows a little bit of frustration, just bowls over Ash. Ball slightly, just ever so slightly inside forward 50.
Geez, they're the ones I reckon Fogarty's got to take. Beautiful kick for goal. He probably goes back and nails it. Just got to mark those balls inside 50. Those 50-50 ones, he's got to clunk them.
Toss back into play. O'Brien wins it down to Keys. Quick handball away from Kelly to shoulder. Kicked it straight into Dawson. Bounces off his skipper. Perryman off the deck now, trying to clear it for the Giants. They're under immense pressure at the moment. They've got the numbers to get away with it. Perryman long ball up through centre wing. On the broadcast side, it bounced off Riccardi. Charging through was Bedford. Hands it to Toby Green. Hinge on his tail. Got a kick in the path of Riccardi. Open real estate in front of him. Gathers right forward pocket. Kicks across the face unselfishly and hits Hogan. Called to play on. Under pressure. His handball towards the goal square. Socket off the deck and across the face by Riccardi. No idea why that wasn't paid a mark. Must have been
umpire's called touched.
Touched off the boot.
Yep.
So an incredible effort there to prevent a goal. That looked a gimme for the Giants, and instead it's a boundary throw-in.
Scrambling defence from the Crows. Up the ruck contest. Briggs forces it towards the boundary. O'Brien picks it up. Got a hand pass out quickly. Dump kick by Murray. Somehow found its way outside defensive 50. Ball on the ground. Fogarty just knocked it to Jones. Released it. Whitfield got a foot in there. Chase Jones picked it up again. Got it out of there. It's going to come back. Buckley took it straight into the centre square to Himmelberg. Back on his right foot. Long and high. Hogan, middle of the pack, couldn't take it. Smith for Adelaide just cleared it out again to the eastern side. Angwin should be first there. Murphy fired up, worried him out of it. Taken to ground. In fact, Rochelle worried him out of it. And now he's held the ball in as he's tackled by Himmelberg and forced the ball up out there on the eastern side of the ground.
There's no easy ball, is there?
Not for the Giants. Adelaide's defence is rock solid at the moment. Everything's hard for the Giants.
Fierce contest. Perryman handballed an underground one forward. Trying to race to meet it up against Dawson. In the end, the tackle laid on Sloan will hold things up just outside the 50.
Toby Green, how have you seen his game? Did they need to get more out of him? He's had the 9 disposals, but
he's playing up the ground a lot more. You want to see him inside 50, and his opponent is laying off, which is giving Adelaide an extra defender.
Briggs takes it out of the ruck against O'Brien, who wraps him up. Just got boot to ball at the last possible moment. And now Ward is spun to ground. Another ball to come.
I think the Giants need to make it 1v1 inside their 50, because every time the Giants look up, there's an extra defender for Adelaide. They just can't score.
Off the ruck contest, another ball upcoming. Angwin tied up, Laird for Adelaide. Briggs just knocks it forward. Michael Annie was there for Adelaide. Over the shoulder, he kicks back, and that was fortuitous because coming forward was Pedler. Took the chest mark, eastern side of the ground, right half back for Adelaide. Out wide he goes with the hand pass off to Dawson, who returns the favour to Pedler. Sends it down to half forward, long and high. Thilthorpe late, knocked forward. Comes to ground, Perryman. Just a hit and hope over the head to Briggs. Couldn't get the kick away properly. Thilthorpe came through. Support there from Pedler. Tried to get a hand pass away, taken to ground, holding the ball to the umpire. Angwin with the free kick for the Giants.
Still time if they go. Angwin inside to Whitfield. Can't afford to waste any moment. They'll switch to the broadcast side. Ash behind the logo. On the 45 to Ware. No one in front of him. Heads into the arc. Last roll of the dice. The siren will beat them as Hogan takes the contested mark. A second too late. A goalless quarter for the Giants. Adelaide extends its lead up to 17 points at the major break. 6-5-41 to GWS 3-6-24. Goal scorers at half-time for the Crows, 2 to Walker, singles to Keys, Thilthorpe, Rochelle and Laird. For the Giants, all individual, Green, Hogan and Brown. There's a fair bit of feeling in this one as well, and Josh Rochelle has been placed on report for a high elbow to Jack Buckley, who came in late after a bit of a feisty affair with Harry Perryman. Buckley came in to remonstrate. Rochelle almost tried to give him one before he got in there, and the elbow was way too high, and based on the MRO guidelines, if he's lucky, it's careless. It's certainly going to be high contact, and it's just a matter of the impact, which is probably going to be low or medium, which will probably be a week.
Really?
If it's medium, careless and high, he's going to miss a week, unfortunately, Josh Rochelle.
Yeah.
Just didn't need to do it, the young fella, did he? Look, this is what he does. He plays on the edge, doesn't he, every week? This he might have gone a little bit too far with this one. It wasn't a horrendous act. You just got him a little bit high. We know the AFL doesn't like that, so I think you're right. I think he's going to have to get a week for what he just did.
Arm in arm with Taylor Walker as he goes off. Walker's got his arm around him, just whispering in his ear, "Don't be silly. Let's just get on with it."
As we called in that second quarter with the incident, that it's so hard to move the ball out of your back 50, and you talk about field position, which is one of the big KPIs, and time in front half. They were going inside forward 50, the Crows there, and that turnover then almost sort of swings momentum a little bit in favour of the Giants. They're able to get inside their forward 50, lock it in their front half for a period of 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, which makes it then difficult for Adelaide to capitalise and score on the back of that. But yeah, young fella, he obviously plays on emotion, which is a great thing. He just needs to keep it in check.
But what I did love is Dawson comes straight off the ground, probably for his rotation. He goes straight to Rochelle and walks him around the boundary and talks to him. Taylor Walker grabs him and says, "Don't worry about it, young fella. We've all been there. We've played the game. We've all been there." What he did wasn't horrendous, but like you said, Josh, it just cost the team for 5 minutes. Luckily, the Giants didn't score.
So that's the sort of thing, Josh, you said was missing from the Gold Coast.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I was going to say about that as well, and you've obviously played in the early 2000s under Choco.
I've been there before.
And you talk about
Michelle's been, trust me.
When you talk about the old days, imagine what would have happened if you had done that in the old days. Instead of the arm around, I reckon it would have been the phone. Get him on the phone. I want to give him a serve. Times have changed.
I might not have come back out in the second half if that was the case.
No, you did yours at the airport, didn't you?
That's
anyway, we won't go there.
The good old days.
Yeah.
It's very up in the air. The Crows could argue low impact, considering the Buckley's still playing and obviously unimpeded by it, which means you'd only get a fine. But the AFL could say it's intentional, and then in that case, it is definitely a win.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to play out here, but at the end of the day, Rochelle has elbowed Jack Buckley high in the head. It's just a matter of the impact and whether or not it was intentional or not. But
and the reality is, it's a really tight, contested game, isn't it? We talked about the numbers at quarter time. There's been a swing in terms of contested possession, which is a big indicator of how your side's playing in terms of intensity, field position and your ball movement and how you're defending. But it's been a cracker of a game. Adelaide go, as we said, go into this half-time break, 17 points up, but it's been a very entertaining game. And in terms of when the Giants have got the footy, Adelaide in that quarter, they were terrific at denying time and space.
And the stakes are high. The winner goes in the 8. Like, I don't mind the aggression. And you're right, Josh. It is a very contested game. The winner gets a spot in the 8. It's a huge game for both clubs. I thought Adelaide were fantastic that quarter. We spoke about their midfield. They must have heard us from up here because right away they won that centre bounce. Dawson comes steaming out and it just got their team going. Geez, he's a really good captain. Like, he doesn't need to be told he's had a quiet first quarter. He would have known he needs to step up. And how he gets his game going, yes, he got that clearance, but what he does is he gets behind the play and gets some handball receives. As a midfielder, when you are struggling around your contested possession, your clearance work, the best way you get into the game is what, Josh? You're a great midfielder. You get back, you get some cheapies, and you get your game going. And that's exactly what he did, and the rest of the team followed. I really love how they're defending. The Giants had a lot of inside 50s that quarter, but they're just defending. And this is what Adelaide have done most of the year at home. They defend teams in their back 50.
And you compare that with what happened in the first game they played earlier this season, and the figures were not good for Adelaide. It was plus 57 possessions for the Giants, minus 14 marks, plus 8 inside 50s, plus 18 contested possessions, plus 37 uncontested possessions. So they had the run and they ran and they didn't get enough defensive effort from Adelaide, and they were able to just run through them all the time.
Well, the other one, and you talk about how they're defending, the one that impresses me the most is Michael Annie. I haven't seen a lot of him live, and I don't know if this has been said before, but he actually reminds me of a young Ben Hart.
Yep.
Just his ability. Has that been said, Aaron?
It's been said a lot.
Oh, there you go. I apologise for those that just heard that again. But no, he's unbelievable in terms of his ability to defend tall and small. And you put him on a guy like Toby Green, who he's a star of the competition, and Michael Annie's an 18-year-old first-yearer and has taken the colours to half-time.
We spoke to Nixie last week on Grandstand, and Nixie couldn't have spoken any highly of this kid. You would not think this kid's only played 10 or 12, 14, whatever the numbers are. It's his first year, but he is a unbelievable player, and he plays like he's played 150 games, and he is not afraid. Michael Annie, he would have seen you're on green. He's probably the type of kid that would have said, give me green, coach.
Yeah.
You know, he's just that type of kid. But I just think Adelaide really controlled that second quarter, not only with ball in hand. They started to control the ball and switch the ball a little bit more, and all their good players got into the game. And every time, I really love the move that they did from the coach's box, where they didn't follow up the forward. So they let the Giants have an extra around the stoppage, and they kept seven backs. So 6 backs, not the half back that goes with the half forward. They dropped the layer, and every time the Giants broke and looked up, all they saw was Crows players. And they had nowhere to kick to. And we saw Toby Green, be inefficient going forward, kicking the ball to the Crows players a couple of times. He made a bad decision, kicked the ball on the ground. So when you look up and see 6 defenders holding their shape, it's really hard to break. And I really like that, because we saw the first goal was one-on-one everywhere. So the coaches have moved that. And now it's over to you, Giants. What are you going to do about that?
But I think also too, in Adelaide, you talked about having that +1 behind the ball off the back of the Giants sending that extra into the stoppage, that extra forward into the stoppage. What you also need there, though, is pressure on the ball, because if you don't and they look up, they can sort of bypass that +1. But Adelaide's pressure on the ball, particularly that quarter, was outstanding in terms of their ability to keep heat on the ball carrier, keep his eyes busy so he can't make a decision going forward, blazes away, and then their +1 comes into play, which, as we said, did superbly from Adelaide's perspective.
The one thing that's keeping the Giants in this game is Sam Taylor.
Yeah.
He's been excellent. And unfortunately, because he missed, I think it was 5 games with a hamstring injury, he probably won't back up his All-Australian year with another Blazer, but he should be there if he played a full year. He's easily the best defender in the competition right now.
He's having a great battle with Walker, isn't he? I mean, Walker's hit the scoreboard a couple of times, but Taylor's also having an impact. And, driving into the game tonight, I was thinking, if Walker can kick 1 or 2 on Taylor, no one kicks goals on Taylor, and Walker's kicked 2 in the first quarter. And where Walker's also been a little bit damaged is his ruck contest.
Yeah.
So he's actually pushing the ruckman out of the way and either getting a clearance and having a shot on goal, or he's bringing his teammates into the game. And we saw that's how Adelaide got their first goal. So it's a really good battle between, Taylor from the Giants, can't say Taylor Walker, but Taylor v Walker. So it's a great battle.
Well, on the flip side of that, we looked through the numbers, and you obviously spent a lot of time at the Giants. Caniglio hasn't had a huge impact on the game. How can we get him, or how can the Giants get him involved?
Well, back when Leon Cameron was coaching with Coniglio, he played more as a forward.
Yeah.
This year, Adam Kingley's brought him into the midfield, and he's been really good over the last month. But he can do this, Coniglio. He can fade it out of a game. You know, do you put him to Dawson? You know, they're going to need to do something about Dawson. He's had 16 in a half. I think he had 14 that quarter.
2 in the first term, 14 in the second.
Unbelievable. So do you put Coniglio, the former captain of the Giants, mate, we need you. We need you to step up. You're going to go to Dawson. Yeah. You know, so be interesting to see. It's a great call, Josh. They're not going to win the game with Coniglio only having, you know, what's he had?
8 for the
which is not too bad, but he just hasn't had an impact.
No.
Thoughts of Dean Brogan and Josh Franco here at the Adelaide Oval. The Crows leading by 17 points at the major break over the Giants, 6-5-41 to 3-6-24. Third term underway at Gidenya Park. Geelong lead Essendon by 44 points. If you do want to hear that game, jump on the ABC Listen app and hit the AFL button. Speaking of the ABC Listen app, it's your home of cricket. The Ashes obviously continuing midweek for the 4th test. And obviously on Sport Digital as well, we'll still have coverage of the Women's Ashes, the second ODI tomorrow, and the Wimbledon Women's Final tonight, which we'll take you to on Sport Digital following this contest here at the Adelaide Oval between Ons Jabeur and Marketa Vondrasova. So plenty of sport coming your way on ABC Sport wherever you're listening. But for now, we'll take a quick break and let you join the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. The ABC projects that LNP candidate Cameron Caldwell has won the Fadden by-election. The coalition has easily retained the Gold Coast in the federal by-election, which was triggered by the resignation of former frontbencher Stuart Robert. Mr Caldwell, a Gold Coast councillor, beat a field of 13 candidates to win the seat. Gold Coast MP and senior coalition figure Karen Andrews was always confident that Mr Caldwell would be successful. Since the resignation of Stuart Robert in May, Labor has campaigned on his role in the failed robo-debt scheme. Ms Andrews says Mr Caldwell was well recognised in the area and Mr Robert's track record has not been a factor.
There was no real mention of Stuart at all. There was a very positive response to Cameron Caldwell. So my take from the polling booths that I was at and the feedback that I've heard is that it's probably very neutral. Cameron Caldwell's ID is very high. He's very well known in the area, and I think that people, quite frankly, with the greatest respect to Stuart Robert, have already moved on.
Australia's ambassador to the United States, Kevin Rudd, says he's confident that plans to bolster Australia's defences in the Indo-Pacific are moving a step closer to reality. A US Senate committee has approved draft legislation allowing the transfer of sensitive military technology to Australia. If it passes both houses of Congress, it would help accelerate the delivery of Australia's nuclear-powered AUKUS submarine fleet. Kevin Rudd says it's essential for Australia's shared future with the US and UK.
What's our mission statement? What's our mission objective? It's that we three great democracies develop a seamless defence, science and technology sector between us all.
South Australian police have arrested a man who surrendered after a standoff with armed officers lasting several hours in Adelaide's northeast this afternoon. Police responded to reports of a shooting at the house in Campbelltown earlier, where 2 women were injured. They're being treated in hospital, but police have declined to describe their injuries. Assistant Commissioner Graham Goodwin says police will search the Campbelltown house for firearms and expect the 51-year-old suspect to be charged tonight.
I'll be discussing the condition of the 2 women that are injured. Charges will be pending the injuries sustained by those people, but quite clearly they're serious. So this investigation is still only in its very early stages. There is still a lot more detail to come.
A regional New South Wales football club has taken to the field for the first time since 5 of its members were killed in the Hunter Valley bus crash. Gavin Coote reports.
The Singleton Roosters AFL club has returned to the football field for the first time since 5 of its members died in the wedding bus crash at Greta last month. 5 others were killed in the crash. The New South Wales Premier Chris Minns attended today's games and announced $1.7 million for the club's expansion. Singleton Roosters President Dylan Hickson says it will help the community heal.
We are a family here, and you know, we lost parts of our family, and that's really hard for myself and for all of us as a club.
The expansion will be jointly funded with the AFL and Singleton Council.
A heatwave in southern Europe has seen dozens of cities placed on alert. The BBC's Guy Hedgecoe reports from Madrid.
We're expecting temperatures here to rise up to the mid-30s. That is actually a bit cooler than what we've been seeing over the last few days. Down in the south of the country, there were temperatures up to 44 degrees. Now, the heat wave we have been seeing in Spain is expected to tail off this weekend, but temperatures are expected to rise again early next week. So people here are very much bracing themselves for another increase in temperatures. And much of the east of the country here is still on orange alert, and that includes parts of the Balearic Islands, which are expected to see pretty high temperatures today, up to the high 30s.
Meantime, heavy rain has killed at least 7 people in South Korea. 2 others are missing after the torrential rain caused landslides and floods. More than 1,500 people have had to evacuate their homes, while thousands of properties are without power at the moment. And just recapping our top story, the ABC projects that LNP candidate Cameron Caldwell has won the Fadden by-election. The coalition has easily retained the Gold Coast in the federal by-election, which was triggered by the resignation of former frontbencher Stuart Robert. Mr Caldwell, a Gold Coast councillor, beat a field of 13 candidates to claim the seat. This is ABC News.
Protecting our planet.
Breaking down barriers.
Supporting new migrants and refugees.
Lending a helping hand.
These are some of the ways we became Australians of the Year.
The Australian of the Year awards are nominated by you.
So come on, reflect, respect,
and celebrate
Australians who are making a real difference.
Nominate them now at australianoftheyear.org.au.
The World Game is here.
Great touch on into the box, right foot strike, it scores! Unbelievable!
The FIFA Women's World Cup 2023.
Near the corner post on the left side, dribbles to the edge of the area, strike! Oh, it's in! What a wonderful goal!
Live and commercial-free coverage on radio and on the ABC Listen app. Just look for the World Cup button.
Kerr intercept, dribbles into the area, Kerr strike! The Aussie captain scores!
The FIFA Women's World Cup 2023 starts Thursday. Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Down the line, intercept mark taken by Hinge between 2 Giants. Drives with that left foot, 25 from goal. Walker up behind. Oh, he got up and over and took a mark. So Walker, every now and then, has a bit of a hiccup from this sort of range. Comes in, not this time. Not this time, and the Crows extend their lead to 11 points.
Adelaide's defence is rock solid at the moment. Everything's hard for the Giants.
O'Brien plays on while the scuffle ensues. Into the 50 they go, a little bit too high for Thilthorpe. Walker wrenches it away, caught in the tackle, got it out to Keys. A tumbling kick towards goal, bounces perfectly.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital,
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
The Crows are up by 17 points at half-time against the Giants in what's been a back-and-forth affair, certainly a fierce contest and a lot of feeling in it, to the point where Josh Rochelle has gotten himself reported with an elbow on Jack Buckley that will be looked at by the MRO tomorrow. Adelaide do have the current advantage, though. Taylor Walker, 2 goals. Their lead 17 points, 6-5-41 to 3-6-24. The 2 games on tonight. The other is over at Cardinia Park, with Geelong leading Essendon by 56 points, 11-10-76 to the Bombers 3-2-20. Earlier today, Collingwood defeated Fremantle by 46 points thanks to a 10-goal surge in the second term. Nick Dacos had 36 touches and a goal. Jamie Elliott had 4 goals. And unfortunately for Fremantle, not only the margin devastating, but the injuries as well. Sean Darcy with an ankle issue. He's been plagued by them over the last couple of years, and unfortunately he didn't see out the game after that injury. And Brandon Walker had to be stretchered off with a knee issue as well. The other early games saw the Suns defeat St Kilda by 26 points. Obviously a turbulent week with the departure of Stuart Dew, but an early win for the Suns on the road home. Rory Atkins had 32 disposals and 2 goals. The former Crow, and Jack Lukosha, speaking of South Australians, 4 goals as well for the Gold Coast in that victory. The twilight game saw Carlton defeat Port Adelaide by 50 points to end the Powers' 13-game win streak. Jack Silvani, best of field with 4 goals. Jesse Motlop had 4 as well. Dan Houston, the best for the Power, with 41 touches. In the NRL today, the Broncos defeated the Bulldogs by 20 points, 44-24. The Cowboys defeated the Sea Eagles 19-8, and currently the Storm leads the Roosters at the 65-minute mark, 24-4. Aaron Bryans and Neil Cross with you for the call here at the Adelaide Oval. Premiership ruckman Dean Brogan, All-Australian midfielder Josh Franco with you, and Josh Money down on the boundary. Brogues, what are you expecting in the second half?
Well, I'm expecting the Giants to do something about Zach Dawson. You can't let him have 14 possessions in the second quarter. But, look, they're going to have to match him in the midfield. Like, you can see Greens who's going to start in the midfield. I was actually going to say, I'd like to see Greeny stay more inside 50. He's kicking the ball inside 50. He's had 6 inside 50s. For the best small forward in the game, you want him around the goals. They're going to have to kick a score. 3-6 isn't going to get it done against Adelaide. So I would like to see Green push forward and stay more inside 50. From an Adelaide's point of view, their midfield just needs to keeping on. They dominated the Giants that quarter.
Well, it doesn't feel like the game's going to break open to me. I think it's going to be an arm wrestle for the rest of this second half. But a couple of words I've written down: clean and composed. I reckon the side that can stay clean and composed under pressure is the side that's likely to come out on top. Because, as I said, it doesn't feel like it's going to break either way.
Apologies in the Coleman race as well. The AFL app doesn't update across the weekend. So, thanks to the 3 goals earlier, Charlie Curnow currently leads Taylor Walker by 1, who has 2 so far tonight. So 51-50. So Texas still got a bit of work ahead of him.
And just quietly, O'Brien's put together a nice little game too. He's had 20 hit-outs already to Briggs's 13. So he's dominating the ruck hit-outs.
Crows by 17 points. Third term underway. Here's Neil Cross.
Bounce down. It's crooked. It doesn't come back though. Laird takes it away for Adelaide, then had to release a hand pass. Dawson couldn't get it. Picked up by Kelly straight away to Briggs, and he goes forward for GWS inside 50. Off hands, Daniels taken down in the tackle. Laird picked it up, gave it to Miller. He gets it out towards centre wing. Ball on the ground again. Coming away for it was Ash for the Giants. Right on 50, he's found Lloyd. Out there on the eastern side, right half forward.
Terrific composure there from Ash, wasn't it? Didn't blaze away, just spotted up the free target. Great change of direction.
He's got some speed, Ash, isn't he?
So the long kick comes in from Lloyd. Doesn't have the distance across the front of the pack. Comes Worrell in the end, or it might have been McElhaney or maybe even O'Brien, but one of them knocked it through. A rush behind to start the scoring in the second half. 16-point game in favour of Adelaide.
Quick exit. Hinge finds Miller.
I've liked his game, Miller.
Out to the defensive edge of the square. Fogarty lost it late against Buckley. Spills out in the path of Laird, battling with Bedford. Fogarty sidesteps off the gather and then gets it to Hinge across defensive 50. He'll exit with a nicer kick out to the eastern side that bounces favourably for Murphy. He heads down the line looking for Rankin. Iden on his tail and escorts him over the boundary line. Quite a night for Isaac Rankin. Only the 5 punches.
Needs to get involved.
We spoke about Toby Green pushing. I would like to see him more inside 50s. He did the centre bounce. Now he's pushed forward and he's taken up the last post in the forward line.
All thrown back into play. O'Brien straight down to Murphy. And the kick goes down the throat of Taylor. Defensive mark, an intercept mark for the Giants.
It's one of the advantages of Murphy, Crossy. He goes into the stoppage and just rips through like he did on that occasion.
So the ball across the goal face to Buckley. And Buckley in left back pocket. He wanted to switch back, decided against it. Comes down this broadcast wing with a long kick. Murray got the fist to the ball, picked up by Keys, taken to ground in a tackle immediately by Kelly, and we'll get a ball up.
7 intercepts for the night for Sam Taylor. Lockie Whitfield has 8, as does Nick Murray. Tossed up, Briggs won it down in the path of Angwin. Laird on his tail, wrapped him up, kept him just in the field of play. Got a handball late to Kelly. Now Canelio breaks away from the contest. Snaps a low ball that's bouncing up towards Bedford. Did well. Hands it inside to Daniels. Now off to Angwin. Nice little chain. Forward thrust from Briggs to Bedford. Sweeping Polypharma handball up towards the arc. Whitfield towards Green. Kicks from 40 around the body. Unselfishly, he hooks it to Bedford. I think the Crows fans were up and about thinking he'd shaped it, but it was always intentionally for Toby Bedford in the left forward pocket. Tight angle, 10 out.
All I can say is, wow, Toby Green take a bow. That was unbelievable.
How's the vision?
The vision and the execution by foot was outstanding. And again, from the scramble, we talked about Canelio, his ability to drive his legs to create the outnumber, use the hands and set up this entry inside 50 and shot on goal. Superb from Canelio.
So Toby Bedford, the former Demon, goalless in his last 3. It'll remain that way. Didn't quite get the arc. And kicks it through for a minor score on the right-hand side. The Giants trail by 15 points, 3-8-26 to the Crows, 6-5-41, early stages of the third term.
You're right, Josh. The build-up was better from the Giants.
Yep.
They're using hands, they're running in waves. Toby Green's saying more inside 50. They've started this quarter really well.
In short to Butts, and then Butts goes long out the centre wing on the eastern side. Whitfield at the back, gave the hand pass to Cumming. Over the shoulder, he went down the line. Ball was out. No, the umpire spotted a free kick. I think there was much in that. It's going to go to Toby Green, away from that stoppage. Now he goes inside and short to Cornelio, just outside, attacking 50. And Cornelio takes his time, eventually goes into the scoreboard pocket with the kick. Adelaide with numbers at the back. Hinge takes it, flips a hand pass over the top to Michael Annie. Stepped around one, gave a nice hand pass forward to Sloan, and then fumbled the ball and is immediately set upon too high. He gets a free kick. Crowd like that one. Surprise, surprise at the Adelaide Oval. The crowd likes a free kick.
Jeez, he got lucky then. He just dropped it and got a free kick, luckily for him, because Giants looked like they were going to pounce on that and kick a goal.
So the 19-year-old Max Michaelani skies it up towards the Max Bashir stand on the eastern side. Dawson front position, couldn't control it. Laird flicked a handball out as far as Lloyd. Pushing it forward for the Giants. Keys battling there with Kelly. Neither could control it.
Started this quarter well, the Giants. 4-1 inside 50s. 4.5 minutes gone.
Looks like Perryman's gone to Dawson. We spoke about Giants needing to do something with Dawson, and it looks like Perryman's gone straight to him.
So boundary throw in. Right half forward for the Giants. Kicking to the northern end this term. Briggs front position, double tap down straight to Smith. Kicks off a step, a long bomb, a spiral up towards centre wing. Iden did well. Got above Fogarty. Cuts it off for the Giants. And they'll look to go back towards attack.
Desperately wants to switch. Forced to kick down the line. Keeps it out there on the eastern side. Hogan came late. Ball came to the front. Ware got it off to Cornelio by hand. Inside 50 the ball goes. Daniels almost roved it. Then it went to Bedford. He was tackled. Was that okay? Said the umpire yes. But only worth a ball up. Miller with the tackle. And he made sure he was low down Bedford. He actually thrust forward into the tackle.
O'Brien won it down. Daniels was there though to Crum. Diving handball out to Perryman. Now Ware kicks around the body as far as Scholl, who gave away a free kick to do so.
I didn't see what happened there.
He used the body, I reckon, and has shepherded out Cornelio, who's now received the free kick, 40 out, tight angle to the right. I don't think there was a lot in it, but he was prevented from entering the contest, Stephen Cornelio.
Well, Aaron, we spoke about Cornelio at half-time, just the 8 disposals. Not a huge impact on the game. Already 4 touches this quarter, lining up for a shot on goal.
30 disposals, 3 goals, 10 coaches' votes last week. Let's see if he can make an impact. He can't. It's across the face, top of the goal square. Launching himself as Riccardi. Slipped through his hands and Miller can exit. Low ball to Rochelle. Wasn't favourable. And on the bounce, Himmelberg charges across to escort it over the line.
Was that just a shank or was that a set play?
It looked like a shank from here, yeah. Josh. Look, they're really pressing hard, the Giants, aren't they? The whole start of this quarter's been played in their forward half. But can they hit the scoreboard?
Yeah.
Haven't kicked a goal since the 19-minute mark of the opening term, the Giants. Adelaide get it away from the stoppage. It'll come back. Cumming just got foot to ball, put it inside 50. O'Brien dropped the intercept mark, and it remains on the ground and in dispute. It came out to Perryman. He just wobbled a kick forward. At the top of the goals, the ball on the ground. Murray did well, gave it to Hinge by hand, and then off to Smith, who now clears the area back towards half-back. Coming on the ground, takes position, keeps it under him, and the umpire gave him the benefit of the doubt as Rankin came over the top, questions the umpire, who says, no, ball's going in the air from me.
Crows by 15 points, third term. O'Brien wins it down straight toward for the Giants. Caught in the tackle, dropped it. Daniels with the volley. Gathering is Green from 30. Snaps for home and gets the kind bounce. Green's got 2.
He's a star.
Well, he is the best small forward in the game inside 50. You need to play Toby Green closer to goals because this is what he does. He kicks goals. You don't want him kicking the ball inside 50. You want the ball getting kicked to him inside 50. So great adjustment by Adam Kingsley to push him more forward.
9-point lead for the Crows. 6-5-41 plays 4-8-32, 8 minutes into the third term.
And just looking at the replay, Michael Annie couldn't have done anything more as a defender. He was right up him. There was no separation, but just his ability to use his body, take the ball cleanly, find the space and snap the goal. Yeah, he's a star, isn't he?
Two-time All-Australian, best and fairest back in 2016. Toby Green, originally picked up from Oakley Chargers in the under-18s. Pick 11 back in 2011.
Inside 50s, 7-1 in favour of the Giants this quarter.
Adelaide will go forward from the centre bounce. Sloan got it down to half forward. McAdam got it out to Murphy. May have been taken high. The umpire says no. Ash was the tackler.
I thought that was high there, Crossy.
I think Murphy a little bit of dropping the shoulder. Yep.
Oh, good call.
So off the stoppage, Ash just towed it. That was lucky. Found Daniels 5 metres away. Kicks it out onto that eastern side of the ground. Butts leads it back against Cadman. Did well, Butts. And then Hinge picked it up. Half tackle, ball on the ground. Cadman's over it. Butts is over him. Forces a ball up 60 from goal, but the Giants going forward again.
The other thing the Giants have adjusted to, they're keeping 6 forwards now, so there's no spare defender from the Crows. So it's 1v1 ahead of the footy.
Briggs takes it out of the ruck with one arm, kicks it just the required 15, and Cornelio back with the flight. Marks against Sloan.
Starting to have an influence.
He'll centre his kick again, this time just too short. Rochelle becomes the tackler sliding in and forces the holding the ball. They've made a meal of it. Cornelio with a dinky kick to Ware. Rochelle swarmed. It could have been high, but Ware stuck the shoulder up. Umpire wasn't falling for it. And Adelaide now can switch across defensive 50. Exit is poor from Butts. Caught the side of the boot. Just stayed in enough time for Michael Annie to gather. His disposal's woeful as well. Kelly intercepts centre wing. Plays on unnecessarily. Hands it over the top under pressure. Cumming is bowled over as he kicks. And nearly intercepted by the Crows. Hinge flew, had a couple of bites at it, but just couldn't reel it in on the boundary line. It'll be tossed back into play. Left half forward for the Giants. They currently trail by 9. Josh Money's downstairs.
Yeah, Josh Kelly's just come from the ground. Been watching him for a couple of minutes. Copped a nasty knock to his left quad. He's been everywhere in this game. He won't stop him running out the game, but certainly it'll slow him down.
Briggs did well out of the ruck contest. Cadman's going to kick a goal from it. From 20 out, straight in front, played on to advantage. There was going to be a free kick played, and it started with the ruck contest. Briggs got rid of Philthorpe and just thumped the ball inside 50, and Cadman capitalised. The Giants creep closer. They're within 3 points. 5-8-38 to Adelaide 6-5-41. 11 minutes down in the third term. Neil Cross and Aaron Bryans with you and our experts, Josh Franco and Dean Brogan.
I talked about at half-time, Brogues, that this game didn't have the feel that it was going to break open either way, whether it was the Giants or Adelaide. And again, there's been another momentum swing. The Giants have started this quarter superbly in terms of the statistics. They've had 20 more touches. They've had 8 more inside 50s. And at the moment, the ball's being played in their front half.
And they're just playing 6 forwards. They're not coming up around the footy. It's 1v1 ahead of the footy. We spoke about the second quarter. Adelaide having an extra behind the ball. The Giants have made that adjustment and it's helping them.
3-point lead to the Crows. They haven't scored in this third term. Philthorpe won it down. Gathered by Perryman though. Errant handball. Laird charging to meet it with Green. Bounces out to Murphy. He's caught high by Whitfield. Free kick Adelaide. Just inside the centre square. Murphy's hobbling as he stands up. So he'll hand it off to Dawson. Now Hinge. Rocket into the 50. His target is Walker. McAdam stuck a fist out and almost knocked it away from him. Scholl charges through. Spins out of a tackle. Got it to McAdam. Now Rochelle snaps tight angle left forward pocket minus score. On the left-hand side, Adelaide's lead 4 points. 6-6-42 to 5-8-38. 13 minutes played and Matthew Nicks doesn't look happy, Josh.
And neither does Rory Laird. I think he was 35 metres out directly in front of goal, was looking for Rochelle to pass the ball off to him, decided to have the snap, missed the goal. Rory Laird put his arms up in the air, said, mate, kick it to me, I was free, but didn't.
Whitfield, former number 1 pick, exits from the goal square, kicks it out to that eastern side, couple of hand passes picked up by Cadman inside with his kick, missed Daniels. And of course it's Dawson, the captain for Adelaide, who takes it. 60 from goal, arcs around on the left foot, inside 50, great spot up. McAdam with a mark. On the lead was Walker. Taylor was right on top of him, and Walker didn't appreciate it. A little bit of push and shove, but the experienced Walker smart enough not to give away a free kick there.
Well, obviously we talk about Jordan Dawson and his ability to use the ball by foot. Don't underestimate how hard that kick was. He just dropped it on a 10-cent piece, found McAdam amongst 3 or 4 Giants defenders. That was an outstanding kick. Could have blazed away. He probably was in range, but was unselfish and passed off.
In his first game since round 1, when he copped a suspension, McAdam converts. Adelaide steady. They got their 7th on the board, 7-6-48. 10 points clear of GWS on 5-8-38 after 14 minutes of the third term.
Well, we talk about risk and reward with the Giants. They had the footy and they turned him board. It was a blind kick, but like you said in the first quarter, if that kick comes off for the Giants, it's a quick way through the corridor to goal. It didn't on that occasion, got chopped off. Gets in the worst possible hands for the Giants in Dawson, who's an unbelievable kick. Like you said, Josh, that was an unbelievable kick. He just come back off the mark, waited, and then just dropped it into what we call the swimming pool, as Mark Williams used to call it back in the day. But he's a brilliant kick going inside 50.
And I'll tell you what, it's a small swimming pool for Dawson, isn't it? He's an unbelievable kick.
The margin,
Phenomenal.
10 points here over at Cardinia Park, continues to blow out. Geelong by 69 points over the Bombers heading into three-quarter time. Bounce in the middle, both O'Brien and Brown stay down. O'Brien won it towards Sloane, got a handball just as he was tackled. Back towards Hinge, who heads to the broadcast wing, trying to put it in the path of Pedler, who becomes the tackler on Ware. Spun him down, holding the ball. The pressure is ramped up at the Adelaide Oval. Pedler just behind right half forward. Not a lot of space inside 50. He'll send it into the pocket. Getting a run at it. McAdam launches, can't reel it in. Brown now wrapped up in the Thilthorpe tackle. Ball up to come. Gee, he knows instantly, McAdam. A couple of steps for the high jump.
A couple of times he's almost tried to take mark of the years tonight.
Ball up. 30 out. Walker won it down. Kelly was there. Tried to get it to Ward. He was held by Laird. Whistle stays away. They keep fighting for the footy. Pedler wrenches it out. Sloane with Cornelio, stuck a bird out straight to Dawson. Centred his kick. McAdam crunched by Cumming, but bursting through is Jones, who slid in and caught one high. That is so unfortunate for the Giants. Jones lost his footing and slid into Ryan Angwin, who had... There was nothing he could do.
No.
He just stood there and copped the frontal contact. And Chase Jones will have a shot on goal from 45 out.
What Chase Jones did, he came off his man and attacked the footy 100 miles an hour, which is why he slipped. So maybe the umpire's gone, well, I'll just give you a free kick for attacking the footy like that. But yeah, brilliant hard ball by Chase Jones. Give him a shot on goal.
Monster run up as well. He started just in front of the centre circle. Man on the mark, 45 out, straight in front. Chase Jones will kick from 55. It's a massive kick. Chase Jones. A party at the Riverbank stand end as Adelaide go back to back and extend the lead to 16 points. 8-6-54 to the Giants, 5-8-38. 17 minutes into the third term on Grandstand AFL.
Well, there's been another twist in the game, hasn't there? Momentum's now swung in Adelaide's favour, and again, going back to that free kick, sitting here as a spectator, I'm not sure that's there.
Well, I didn't hear a lot of Adelaide fans complaining on that free kick. Look, it was an unfortunate free kick. Yeah, he slipped and got him high, but let's not forget how Chase Jones got that ball. He came 10 metres off his man and attacked that footy as hard as you could attack a loose ball get, and he got rewarded in the end. So brilliant goal.
And great finish.
Tasmanian very comfortable in the conditions tonight. They are pretty cool here at the Adelaide Oval. Out of the middle, ball on the ground, and it's found Ward in the end. Whitfield gave it to him, and he was tackled immediately by Laird, held him up. We'll get another ball up just outside the centre circles.
Last 4 inside 50s to the Crows, 9-5 this quarter now, Giants way.
Sloane's got the ball. I think he flipped a hand pass. Umpire said that was okay. Brodie Smith, the outside of the foot, down to half forward, picked up by Himmelberg, gave it back to Iden. Crows swarm around him, picked up by Murphy, sends it long. Pedler almost took it. Walker was there. On the ground, they fight on. Taylor was over the ball, and Iden got it eventually, and now he regrets it. Taken down in a big tackle. Pedler and Laird got him. Ball up.
Great pressure there from Jones and Murphy. Murphy swarmed on the loose footy.
16-point lead. Crows attacking 50. One down by Briggs. Angwin went to ground in the tackle from Jones. Could have been in the back as he fell into him.
I reckon Pedler would like his time again with that mark. He'd mark that 9 times out of 10, I reckon.
Ball up called. 35 out, slightly left of centre for the Crows. Briggs again wins it down, looking for Cornelio. Kelly ripped it away, tried to get it to Angwin, who becomes the tackler in the end. He'll hold things up a little bit further away from the coalface.
They've really responded, haven't they? The Giants were at them in the first 7-8 minutes, and Adelaide have just gone to another level in the last sort of 6 or 7 minutes. Brilliant stuff.
This time O'Brien enters the ruck contest, won it down to Laird, it bounced back to him, kick smothered. Ward will exit to the eastern wing.
Worrell got rid of his man, then picked up the ball after he dropped the mark. He's picked it up twice, and twice the hand pass has been partially smothered. Eventually it's Keys who takes it over the line. So it's a left half forward for Adelaide, still out on that eastern side. Good crowd in, nearly 40,000 you'd think. As we close in on time on in the third quarter, ball comes back into play. Still in dispute, off the hands on the ground. Umpires circling, ball still bobbling. Kelly picks it up for the Giants, and Sloane delicately takes him head on and puts him into the turf. Ball up again, blood rule. And coming off the ground will be Angwin for the Giants. And because it's over on the eastern side, it gives us an opportunity to pause, have a bit of a breath. Crows 8 goals, 6.54. The Giants 5-8-38 in this third term. We're into time on.
We spoke about some of the ball winners for the Giants. Cornelio at half-time only had the 8 disposals. He's having an influence with 7 touches. Daniels had 6, Kelly with 5 this quarter, and Hinge for the Adelaide Crows 6 disposals.
Briggs soccers it out of the ruck contest straight to Brodie Smith. Massive heave into the left forward pocket. Walker's racing onto it with Buckley, who kicks it straight over the boundary line. It's as deliberate as it gets, and they've decided to pay a boundary throw in. He's dropped it on the shin and smashed it into the front row. They're lucky, the Giants. Boundary throw in left forward pocket, Riverbank stand end. O'Brien in front position, won it down. Walker second at the foot, he had to wrap up Taylor. Brings him down, ball up, 15 out.
So that ball came out, if it came out. Crows had a couple. Murphy was one of them, swarming forward, looking for the ball on the ground. Off the ruck contest, Whitfield almost grabbed in a tackle. Finally got his kick away outside. Defensive 50 for the Giants. And the ball goes over the line as Lloyd forces it over just outside attacking 50 for the Crows. Boundary, Josh Money.
Doesn't appear to be a great deal of concern for Angwin. Just a blood nose. He's getting that cleaned up now and should be free to come back on.
Crows by 16 points at Cardinia Park. The Cats by 69. O'Brien takes it out of the ruck, centres his kick. It's a wobbler, but it works. Murphy launched himself and takes the uncontested grab for a footy that was probably a little bit too high for him, but he made it work. Straight in front, 40 out.
Tell you what, I know I've spoken about him throughout the course of this call, but this Lockie Murphy, I really like the way he's developed. Back in 2018 when I was doing work for Adelaide, he was a young developing forward. I think he was on the rookie list getting a game here and there. But he's come on in leaps and bounds. And probably the beneficiary of a Rochelle and a Rankin coming into the side. As I said, he does a lot of the hack work. And he's also very courageous.
Had a goal in his last 5 games. Murphy kicks, it's across the face. It'll sit up on the behind line and just over for a minor score.
At what point now do you start thinking about a tactical sub? You got Henry for Adelaide sitting on the bench. You got Faye for the Giants. At what stage, near the end of this third quarter, do you start to think about pulling the trigger?
17-point lead to the Crows. 8-7-55, plays 5-8-38.
Himmelberg long from the kick in. Umpire spotted a free kick. There was blocking going on, and it'll go to the Crows to Hinge. So Adelaide will go back inside 50, you'd think, from this. No, Hinge has decided to square the ball straight across the centre square, and Worrell's picked it up. It went long and slow, but there was plenty of time for Worrell, but he's held up now. So they've changed the method of attack, but it's in the end, it's gone inside 50, almost to grab the pedal. The umpire said, no, you didn't hold on to it. Giants clear it away outside the attacking 50 of the Crows, and it's over the boundary line on the eastern side. I'll tell you what, the crowd's into this one. It's certainly warming them up on the terraces.
It's another one Pedlar's dropped, Josh. You spoke about him dropping one just before. He's just having an almost game, isn't he?
Yeah.
But just Adelaide have had the last 9 inside 50s. Giants just can't get it over halfway at the moment.
O'Brien won it down looking for a Shelley, ripped away by Bedford. Little 1-2 with Perryman, but they cough it up. Jones bangs it back in. Bouncing footy past Walker. Philthorpe was at the back. Tried to get it to the Texan, who turned straight to the Buckley tackle. Ward socket up against Philthorpe, who tried to gather. Fans were thinking it's in danger. The Giants get away with it. Iden up the eastern side, do they? It's a poor kick. Out on the full. Adelaide will be able to send it back in. Chaotic footy and launching himself. Gee, Perryman, that was dangerous. Just threw his body all the way into Laird, who's down on the ground on his haunches. Smith can mop it up. Heads up towards the 50. Fogarty crunches the pack, but standing firm is Briggs with the intercept mark. Laird is in all sorts on the outer side.
Laird's still looking for the number of the bus that just hit him.
But the kick was a huge set up for him.
Yeah.
Ash, meanwhile, in a bit of trouble. The pressure from the Crows as they played on immense. Murphy's forced the turnover. Rankin into the 50, looking for Walker, a little wide. Iden comes in, lifted the shoulder, trying to draw the free kick. Umpire wasn't buying it. Jones now wrapped up by Perryman. They'll get a ball up at left half forward. It's happening all over the ground, but it is the Crows by 17 points.
Even that inside 50 there from Rankin, trying to be a little bit too cute. I reckon kick it long and deep, get a deep entry, and then build pressure from there.
Laird back on his feet as Whitfield goes through the pack unsuccessfully. Crows force it back so they can go forward. And now they're still forcing it back. They're past centre wing. Hinge is forced to go back there, and then turnover by Smith. Bad hand pass. Ward picks it up. They go inside 50, the Giants. Nuara was in control back there, took a strong defensive mark. Spreads the ball to Scholl across the goals to this broadcast side.
Just lacked a bit of composure there, didn't he, the Giants player going inside 50. Had Miller behind the footy and kicked it straight to him.
So Scholl exits in front of the benches, close to the boundary line. Philthorpe presents, as does O'Brien. Spoiled away. Taylor gathers. Nice diving handball through traffic to Angwin. Piercing footy up to the arc. Should have been taken by Hogan. Slipped out of his hands at the last possible moment. Boundary throw in to come just outside the 50. Josh Money on the boundary.
Yeah, Rory Laird has finally made it to the bench and is now in the hands of the doctors. He's pointing to his left shoulder, so I'll keep you updated. It was after that big hit from Perryman.
Ball back into a play. O'Brien at the back. Kelly took it away though to Angwin. Angwin skies the ball inside attacking 50 for the Giants. And there was a free kick there. Paid for over the shoulder by Butts on Hogan. And Hogan will have a shot at goal from the left forward pocket. He's not bad around the body. Shaky on the drop punt, but across the body he's pretty good.
Well, you look at the modern footballer these days, Crossy, these are actually a reasonably simple kick if he decides to kick the snap, which it doesn't look like he is.
He thinks he's got enough angle. No, he arcs out and hooks. He was a little bit of one, a little bit of the other. He shaped up for a drop punt and then arced to his right and went with the snap and left it narrow for the minor score.
I'm no expert at those kicks, but you've got to face the other way and banana it around your body. He started like a drop punt and ran out, which just never works.
Crows by 16. Rochelle exits to centre wing. Long ball to a pack. Off hands. Gathered by Ash. Tried to break away. Dawson got him. Holding the ball. Free kick to the Adelaide skipper. Had 2 touches in the opening term. He's up to number 20 now. Heads up to centre half forward. Bullet of a kick to Pedlar. Took the mark, popped up. Fans wanted 50 as he stood up. Kelly's boot knocked the footy out of his hand. Purely accidental.
A quieter quarter for Dawson, just the 3 disposals.
And Pedlar wants to take the shot here. Man on the mark's 52 out. He's called to play on. The umpire wasn't giving it to him. Forced to rush his kick to the top of the goal square. Fogarty launches through his hands. Briggs at the back, rushes the exit and only finds Dawson. 40 out, slight angle to the right.
He won't call play on Dawson, that's for sure.
It always happens, doesn't it? Dump kicks out from really deep in your back 50. Always seems to land in opposition hands, but unfortunately for the Giants, it's probably one of the best kicks in the AFL. In his hands, 40 out.
I often say that it's easy to sit up here in the commentary box and say they need a bit more composure coming out of your back 50, but when there's 7 or 8 blokes trying to kill you and get the footy off you, they're tough kicks.
So a poor exit from the Giants. Jordan Dawson comes in. Just can't cash in. Minus score as it's pushed into the left-hand goalpost. Adelaide up by 17 points once again. 8:56 plays 5:9:39. As we approach the 30-minute mark, Josh Money downstairs.
Yeah, Rory Laird has now gone down to the Crows room with that left shoulder. He was grimacing every time the doctor poked the sort of collarbone area. Would be a big out. Ned McHenry, the sub, followed him down as well.
So Himmelberg kicked it out on the eastern side of the ground. Came off hands. Worrell had a chance to put it back inside 50. Ball smothered off the boot and over the boundary line at left half forward for the Crows. And this match has in some ways gone nowhere in this third quarter. It was 17 points at half-time. It remains 17 the margin in favour of the Crows. Off the ruck contest, Murphy inside 50. Rankin almost took it. Accidentally socked away towards the boundary by Buckley. Buckley who follows up, then off the left foot, down the line he goes. Green couldn't take it. Bedford pushes it in front of him for the Giants. Towards half forward, coming the other way was Murray. Picked it up well, hand pass off the Keys. Forward hand pass to Pedler. Then it came to Scholl. Went with his left foot inside 50. Turned it over. Wouldn't have mattered. Siren before the mark. The intercept mark was taken by the Giants. So three-quarter time at the Adelaide Oval. All square in terms of the quarter. And at three-quarter time, it's Adelaide 8:56. The Giants 5:9:39 on Grandstand AFL.
The goal scorers heading into the final term for the Crows. 2 to Walker, singles to Jones, Keys, Stillthorpe, Rochelle, McAdam and Laird. For the Giants, 2 to Green, singles to Cadman, Hogan and Brown. Carnage all over the place as well. Rory Laird down in the rooms earlier as well. Josh Rochelle reported for a high elbow on Jack Buckley. Plenty happening here, but it's set to be a grandstand finish at the Adelaide Oval. The Crows by 17 points on ABC Radio, ABC News Radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app. This is Grandstand AFL.
Your fortune awaits. Please sit down. You desire connection to your community, to be abreast of events and up to date at all times. In your future, I see the ABC Listen app. I see you up to date with current affairs, politics, and the latest conversations on your local ABC radio station. Your reading is complete. Put that filthy money away. The ABC Listen app is as free as a bird. Now go and download the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Crows by 15 points, third term. O'Brien wins it down straight toward for the Giants. Caught in the tackle, dropped it. Daniels with the volley. Gathering is Green from 30. Snaps for home and gets the kind bounce.
Briggs did well out of the ruck contest. Cadman's going to kick a goal from it. From 20 out, straight in front, played on to advantage. There was going to be a free kick played. Dawson, the captain for Adelaide, who takes it. 60 from goal, arcs around on the left foot, inside 50, great spot up. McAdam with a mark. In his first game since round 1 when he copped a suspension, McAdam converts. Adelaide steady.
Chase Jones will kick from 55. It's a massive kick. Chase Jones.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
And now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
A stalemate in the third term leaves the margin at 17 points at the final change. Adelaide up 8:56 to the Giants 5:9:39. The winner will finish, or at least finish the night in the 8, considering the Western Bulldogs had a loss earlier in the round. Carlton had a win earlier today as well, although Geelong and St Kilda had a loss as well. Geelong are headed towards a massive victory over the Bombers, which will see them move up into 5th They're currently up by 77 points at Kardinia Park. Early stages of the final term, 15-13, 103 to Essendon's 4-2-26. A lot on the line here. Aaron Bryans and Neil Cross with you for the call. Your experts to break it all down, Dean Brogan and Josh Franco.
Well, it was a tale of two halves that quarter, wasn't it? The Giants came out, running on top of the ground. It was played all in their front half, probably the first 10 minutes, and got it back to 3 points. And we're all thinking, here come the Giants. And then all of a sudden, Adelaide just started to win a little bit of ball. And then for the rest of the quarter, it was played totally in their half. And look, to give you a picture of how the half went, it was 9-1 inside 50s Giants' favour first 10 minutes, and then from then on it was 13-2 inside 50s Adelaide. So the ball was played totally in their half. The Giants are lucky that they're not down by more. You know, there was a couple of easy shots towards the end that Adelaide missed, you know, Dawson and going inside 50 late. So they could be down by 4 or 5 goals. So Adelaide really could have put the game to bed. So the Giants have still got a little bit of a sniff in this, but look, the Adelaide's backline is just dominating. Murray, Michael Linney, Hinge having a good game, albeit that kick he set up Rory Laird, who almost got killed on that play, who's gone off with a shoulder injury. But their backline is really holding up. You know, when the Giants were coming in that 9-1 inside 50s, Adelaide held pretty well, and then, you know, the game was played in Adelaide's forward half.
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it there, Bros. And I think if you look at some of the other indicators in terms of their, I guess, their intent and mentality, the contested ball that quarter, Adelaide were +5, and their tackle count, they were also +8. So they're big indicators of how the game was played, albeit the fact that the Giants for the first 10 minutes actually dominated the play, and they dominated field position. And I guess what it shows also in the modern game as well, if you can keep maximum heat on the footy, you can get it in your forward half. And as you said, if you can set up well behind the ball, gee whiz, it's hard to move the footy and actually exit your D50 or exit your defensive half of the ground to set up scoring opportunities, which the Giants found really difficult in the back half of that quarter.
You mentioned the Rory Laird injury, Brogues. I reckon there's some good news for Crows fans. Let's check in with Josh downstairs.
Yes, very encouraging news for Crows fans. Aaron, Rory Laird has returned from the rooms and is back in the huddle. Was just testing that left shoulder out, bumping into Chase Jones. Probably had some sort of jab or painkillers, but certainly looks as though he's ready to start in the centre square. That is a big boost for the Crows.
Also looking at the bench, and McHenry still got his tracksuit top on, or still got his warm-up top on. I'd like to see him injected into the game. Probably Scholes, one that's at risk, hasn't had a huge game in terms of output. Just how many disposals? Only had 8 disposals for the game, so he's probably one at risk. But I'd like to see McHenry with his energy for the Adelaide Footy Club to be injected into the game.
Mentioned it this morning, Brogues. He's almost the specialist sub, Ned McHenry. This will be his 8th time hunting the vest.
Well, it's set up for him perfectly, isn't he? Probably 5 minutes in this quarter, no doubt he'll come on and he'll just inject speed onto the footy. They'll bring him up, play that Murphy role, and he'll just get out and run through the stoppage. But if you're the Giants, they're going to need to start really well this first 5 minutes. Otherwise, you can just feel Adelaide just might get away from them. Home ground, as we know, Adelaide always play well when they're at home, and they're not on target to kick 100 points at this stage, but they are in control of this game.
Yep.
So the Crows by 17 points. Rory Laird's in the guts to start this final term. Winner moves into the 8. The Giants looking for a 5th win in a row for the first time since 2018. Adelaide want to keep their win-loss streak alive that started back in round 6. Big game next week against the Demons as well at the MCG. So they need a home win to stay in the hunt. In the middle, Briggs rises early. O'Brien stayed down but tapped it straight to Toby Green. Spiral high into the 50. Hogan his target. Butts back with a flight, nearly claimed it. Picked up by Brown. Hands it to Riccardi. He's been quiet, but this would be huge. Tumbles through for a minor score on the right-hand side.
Encouraged by Butts going back with the flight of the ball. That's what he can do. He's just come back from a concussion and does that. So then Matty Nix will be very happy with that.
16-point lead to the Crows. 8:56, plays 5:10:40.
Miller brings the ball in, drives it along towards centre wing. Off hands, there's Laird, gathering again. Puts it on the boot, long towards half forward. McAdam was there. Iden got it away from him. Good fist. Down to Taylor. Taylor just put the boot into the ball. Miller got rid of his man, couldn't take the mark. Laird gets there, hand pass back as he was falling to ground in a tackle. Dawson received from Murray, gave it back to Murray. Then do Smith on centre wing down to half forward. Good kick. Coming hard and low was McAdam. And then McAdam goes short inside 50. Missed his man. Intercept mark, take it. No, it wasn't a mark by Buckley. Thought it was, but Fogarty immediately tackled him.
Well, he had two options there. Fogarty was coming at the kick. He had Walker deeper and just missed the connect.
It was a clear mark for the Giants defender, and Adelaide will try to capitalise off the ruck contest. Rankin snaps, Pedler bursts out of the goal square, fighting against three for it. Rankin's there with the assist as well. Murphy trying to keep it in. Handball by Perryman, tumbled it over the boundary line. Gee, it looked deliberate, but the bounce wasn't kind. He tried to get it to Angwin.
That's as deliberate as it gets.
Pretty generous there, Aaron. That looked pretty deliberate from me. He got away with one there, Harry Perryman.
Wow.
Left arm handball.
Umpire was in good position too.
That was definitely intentional.
It'll be tossed back in, 15 out, left forward pocket.
In it comes, a little bit short. Both ruckmen come at it. Canelio picks the ball up on the ground. At a Taylor, high, dump kick outside 50. Ball comes to ground, well done by Murray. Scrubbed the kick though, just got it inside 50. Talk about a shallow entry. Keys gave it to Laird by hand. Into the forward pocket it goes. Iden got fist of ball, sent it out over the line for the Giants. Left forward pocket for Adelaide. They considered the first behind of this last quarter, and now they've trapped the Giants inside their defensive 50.
What about Murray's last two efforts? Unbelievable. He's playing like a halfback, not a key position. He's playing like a halfback at the moment.
Toss back in. Walker trying to get front position against Briggs. He ended up with a double tap down the Giant, straight back to the boundary line. Be tossed back in just outside the 50. Live ladder has Geelong in 5th, Adelaide in 6th on percentage, ahead of St Kilda and the Western Bulldogs, who have already suffered losses this round, and the Bombers, who are set to lose as well. So they'll be at least 2 points clear of the chasing pack. One down by O'Brien, but Kelly gets the clearance for the Giants. Up through centre wing, butts, flew, didn't quite get a strong fist. Hogan gathers over the top to Green, tucks it under his arm, then dinks it with a nice curl that lofts in the air and allowed Brown to run on and take the mark. 35 outside angle to the right.
Well, you just called it then, Aaron. Butts came across, did the right thing, but didn't kill the ball. It was a soft drop at ground level. The Giants got it and then got it in the hands of Toby Green. And he's like a basketballer when he gets on his angle. The vision he has, just kicks around his body for a shot on goal. Geez, the Giants need this.
Callum Brown, contract year. The 22-year-old in a big moment for his footy club, shakes it. Out on the full, free kick to Adelaide in the left back pocket.
Just never looked confident, did he? Never looked confident. And out of bounds on the full. Costly miss.
Laird plays on, sends it straight down the line, comes off hands, ends with the hands of Cumming, and then his forward hand pass wasn't great. It's found its way to Toby Green in the end, pushed off one, went to goal, got the bounce, there's a goal, Giants back in it. Toby Green just amazing with his skills, not to mention his fend-offs. So 3 for Green, 8:8.56 for Adelaide, 6:10.46 for the Giants, 4 minutes into the final term.
Well, again, Green looms as the game breaker for the Giants, doesn't he? We saw him with that entry inside forward 50 from that previous stoppage where he set up the shot on goal, and again on that occasion, his strength just to give the fend-off, the dusty don't argue to Michael Annie, and then the quick snap on his body and kick truly to keep the Giants within striking distance.
They almost botched it, didn't it? Isaac Cumming was a really loose handball into nothing. It got back into him and he socketed along the ground. They made something out of nothing, and that's what they're going to need to do, is kick some goals from nothing, because Adelaide have had all the play.
The thoughts of Dean Brogan, Josh Franco, Toby Green, the match winner round 1 with 4 goals. He's got 3 tonight. Briggs wins it down, umpire goes down and enables Dawson to gather and hand it to Sloane. Clearing kick up towards the 50. Walker's underneath it with Taylor. Clears them both. McAdam bursting out, tapped it to Rochelle. Shrugs 2 tackles, gets it to McAdam. Trying to break away from Ash. He retreats with the handball to Dawson. Kick smothered. Rolls inside to Kelly. Sold Ward into immediate danger. Jones was all over him with the tackle. Rochelle trying to rip it away. He's wrapped up. Ball up to come, 35 out, slight angle to the left for the Crows.
Looks like McHenry's about to be injected into the game, guys.
So it's a cold night, but the heat's on. Inside, Briggs took the ball, just the ruckman got it out with the left foot. Just to the centre square. Picked up by Brown, slipped a hand pass wide to Canelio. He's run down. Keys got the ball. and forced the ball up in the end. Tackled by Cornelio, so near the logo on centre wing, we'll get a ball up on this grandstand, or on this broadcast side of the ground, I should say. Adelaide by 10 points.
Cornelio was out. He just needed to gain yardage and kick it. He tried to handball.
Briggs disposes of O'Brien and kicks for territory. It'll roll over the boundary line. Deliberate. Free kick, Adelaide, left half back. Miller to take it. Kick inside, a little heavy. Michaelani made it look good as he pulled it in, turning with one arm. And the switch can be completed to the eastern side. Murray to right half back. Scholl on the boundary line, calling for some options. Finally gets a lead. Sloan in game 250. For the applause of the Adelaide Oval fans. Sloan down the line. Cumming rises high with the fist. Knocked it to Laird. He fumbled, as did Scholl. Ward can gather. Handball back to Himmelberg for the Giants. Put Daniels in trouble with a hospital handball. Michaelani crunched him. Jones bursts through. The Tasmanian heads into the 50. 2-on-2. Thilthorpe there with Taylor. He knocked it down back towards Rochelle. Brought down without the footy. Whistle stays away. Cumming can gather. His kicker rolling footy 5 metres for Ware. Battling with Scholl. They both go to ground. McAdams slaps it. Trying to get it to Scholl, who'll walk it over. Boundary throw in right half forward for Adelaide. Crowd not happy.
Himmelberg's handball.
Yeah.
That's a couple of times now. The Giants are looking to handball. Kick the ball, gain territory. You've got to get the ball in your forward half.
Well, to be fair, the handball was almost worth a kick. It was that long. It should have kicked in the first place. Then he would have been at least a chance of a mark. Off the ruck contest, Sloan's got it. On his knees, though. Hand passes it wide. Ware picks it up for the Giants. He's near the boundary line when he's taken down. Ward had to release it, and finally it's over the boundary line. Out there between centre wing and half forward for the Crows on the eastern side of the ground. 10 points the margin in favour of the home team.
They are coming, the Giants, aren't they? You can just feel that it's one last charge. It's a 10-point game and the heat is really on.
Toss back in front of the Jack Oatey stand. Briggs got a clean double tap to Daniels. Off a step for the Giants, up to left half forward. Bounce favours Worrell, who gets the Shepherd from Butts. His kick smothered late though. Riccardi kept fighting. Green will give it back to him. Riccardi from 35 on the tight angle. It's across the face. And a minor score on the right-hand side. 9-point lead to the Crows. Josh Money on the boundary.
Yeah, the Giants have activated their sub, so Josh Fay will come into the game. Aaron Cadman, the late in, is the out, and Ned McHenry looks as though he's going to do the same for the Crows. We believe it will be for Shane McCann when he comes from the ground.
So the Crows from the kick in from Miller goes out to the eastern side, ball on the ground. Laird picks it up, tumbles the ball forward. Walker got rid of his man, but a ball got away from him, picked up by Cumming for the Giants. Back towards half forward. Lloyd, good gather, off to Kelly on 50. He's a strong kick, he's a long kick. He's a goal kicker. So the Giants are well and truly back in it. It's a 3-point game. The Giants 7-11-53. Adelaide 8-8-56, 9 minutes down in the final quarter. The Giants have the only 2 goals. In fact, they've got the only 2 goals, 2 in the final 2.
And Brogues, your comment about 30 seconds ago was they're starting to get a bit of momentum, aren't they? And again, looking at some of the numbers, the contested footy, which is a big indicator of work rate, they're 17-12 plus 5 in favour of the Giants. They've just got momentum at the moment.
Cumming wanted to handball it then, but he decided just to bang it on the boot and get a goal out of nothing. He wanted to handball, which probably would have sold his teammate into trouble, but he thought, nah, I'm going to kick it. Lloyd gets it off a kind bounce and it gives it to Kelly, sweeping with his left foot.
3-point game. In round 1, the Giants chased down a 28-point margin. They're looking to chase down a 17-point one tonight. Bounce in the middle, O'Brien took it, was wrapped up in the tackle, down to Josh Money.
Yes, confirmation that Shane McAdam has been subbed out of the game. Ned McHenry in for the Crows.
Briggs wins it down. Busting through was Pedler though. Bounced off a couple as he kicked errantly towards the 50. Should have been claimed by Buckley. Dropped it. McHenry gathers. Gives it to Pedler. Into the 50. His target is Rankin. Couldn't bring it down. Spoiled away. Buckley lost control of the footy. Rankin becomes the tackler. Ball up, 25 out, straight in front.
Oh, the drop mark from Buckley. He rolled the dice, came forward, didn't quite take it cleanly. Didn't cost them a goal in the end though, but it's inside their forward 50, the Crows.
Briggs took it off the pack. Just kicked it wide for the Giants. Outside 50, the Crows will come again through Hinge. Puts it back inside 50. Rankin came late, knocked it away from Ward. Sloan just belted it forward. It's come away for Himmelberg. Received from Ash. Just sends it back towards centre wing. Huge leap. Green couldn't pull it down though. It's on the ground. Chase Jones has got it. He's taken down in a tackle. Oh, there's so much action happening.
About to fly from Toby Green. That would have been mark of the year.
It is game on, isn't it? Game on.
He had it, and then he was out of control mid-air coming down and managed to get up without a scratch.
O'Brien wins it down. Briggs does the crumbing though and flings it out with a throw to Ware, and the umpire saw it as well. Free kick to the Crows. Quickly Laird gives it off to Smith. High footy into the left forward pocket. Walker and Thilthorpe underneath it. Knocked away. Rankin gathers. Left foot snap in the pocket. It was a tight angle. It'll bounce across the goal face. McHenry was there. Slapped it to Rochelle. Goes to ground. Can't gather cleanly. Angwin can. Uses Ash. Now an exiting kick. A tumbler. But it's coming back. Ash was taken down after he disposed of it. Thilthorpe the offender. And there'll be a free kick to the Giants. Fader receive it in the scoreboard pocket.
So haven't seen this before, the long-sleeved orange Guernsey. Fay goes long out on the eastern side, off hands, back to McElhaney. McElhaney gives it back in turn to Dawson off his right foot, down towards half forward, ball on the ground. Cornelio picks it up, Worrell got him, umpire call play on, Sloan slips out a hand pass, Ward was good, intercepted towards centre wing, was good to Hogan, or rather Riccardi, he's got it. Looks long, there's Hogan on the end of the kick, inside 50, 48 from goal, slides in and takes a chest mark.
Important intercept there from Ward, wasn't it? Under siege at half back, the Giants, but just managed to get a fingertip on it, bring the ball to ground, pick it up and then hit and find a connect ahead of the footy.
Jesse Hogan settles, waits, drops it in short. Adelaide get across in numbers, picked up by Green, umpire spotted a free kick. Toby Green the offender. Oh no, he kicked it out on the full. And he tried to spot Riccardi in the forward pocket. I was watching Green, not where the ball went in the end. I thought it was a free kick. McElhaney will take it for Adelaide.
Sends it to the eastern wing. Crows by 3 points. His target was O'Brien. Just a little too high for him. Ash waited at the back. Takes the intercept. Hands it off to Whitfield. Spearing kick into the 50. And sliding in like a soccer celebration. Jesse Hogan takes it on the chest. 40 out straight in front.
There was absolutely nothing Murray could have done then. That was one of the best kicks you'll ever see from Lachie Whitfield.
Jesse Hogan hands it off. Long ball. What a shot! It's a goal for the Giants off the bootlaces of the hero last time in Adelaide, Harry Himmelberg. He's done it again. Puts the Giants up in the final term. Last time it was at Norwood. This time it's at Adelaide Oval. 3-point game, 10 minutes to play.
Just want to go back to the McElhaney exit kick. When you kick sort of long down the line, normally it's more boundary. That was a really aggressive kick, almost back into the corridor. I know he had Riley O'Brien there as their tall marking target ahead of the footy, but missed that, caused the turnover. And again, that the turnover, then entry inside forward 50 from Whitfield, outstanding.
And Riley Tilthorpe falling asleep. I think it was Riley Tilthorpe falling asleep on Harry Himmelberg. You've got to be on your toes as a forward when they're having a shot from someone, a tall forward marks in, they're 55 metres out.
Giants have experience in games decided by under 10 points this season. 6 games and they've won 4 of them. Adelaide gets the break out of the middle. Giants with the intercept mark by Cumming.
Just playing too well at the moment, the Giants.
Cumming right at centre half back. Flares it wide. Iden with the mark. Had left half back on the eastern side of the ground. Just holding things up. Adelaide's record in games decided by under 10 points. 1 win, 2 losses this season. Iden goes long. It's taken by Butts off the pack. After Murray flew high. Errant hand pass forces Murray to follow up and make a tackle on Fay, the substitute who's come on in this last quarter for the Giants. Forces the ball up.
Look at the stats, they look really even, but you can just feel the Giants, just their efficiency by foot is just hurting Adelaide at the moment.
O'Brien won it down to Keys, he'll head for the arc. Just wide of Fogarty, wraps up Taylor. Ball trickles towards the boundary line. Rankin kept it in. Now the tackle late on Dawson, who tried to shrug off the Giant. And instead, he's caught holding the ball. Exceptional effort there from Stephen Cornelio.
And when you talk about these games, they're an arm wrestle. It's only 3 points the margin. It's the side that can be the cleanest and have the most composure with the footy normally wins these tight games.
Cornelio goes long towards centre wing, and right at the front was Brown. It never got to O'Brien. He got tangled up. So on the logo on centre wing. Brown called to play on, goes long, inside 50. Ball falls to the back, Hogan slips over. So does Murray, and Angren takes the ball across the boundary line, couldn't keep it in. 40 around from the goal face in the left forward pocket for the Giants.
Crows haven't had a score this quarter, and their last goal was the 17-minute mark of the third term.
And further to what I just said, those that make the best decisions under pressure are the side that normally wins these contests, these tight ones.
36,000 in the house off the ruck contest. Ward broke through, handed it to Cornelio. Two former skippers, but the delivery inside 50 is poor. Murray bounced off Hogan and took the intercept mark. Pops it into the right back pocket to Smith. Milestone games for Rory Sloane and Lockie Whitfield tonight. Whitfield the third Giant for 200 games. Rory Sloane up to 250. Exiting kick for the Crows. Early launch was a push that thrust Buckley into the air, and he received the free kick on the eastern side. It's Taylor just forward of the logo centre wing.
It looks like the Giants are winning way more 1v1 contests at the moment, and that's why the Giants look like the better side at the moment.
Taylor into the pocket. Hogan was the target. Just didn't quite get the run-up that he wanted on O'Brien. And off hands, it'll be a boundary throw in, 25 out, left forward pocket.
O'Brien doing well to get off the ground after being smashed in that marking contest, but he's back to go against Brown in the contest. Green comes, gets the ball, forced in the tackle, the hand pass it away. Ball on the ground, and they fight on. Umpire immediately says, give it to me.
He's looking threatening, Green, isn't he?
He's always dangerous, these forward 50 stoppages.
Yep.
You've got now Green surrenders to the umpire. Now umpire puts it in the air. O'Brien flips it out. Laird lost possession. Hogan got it out. Fahey on the turn off the left foot. He's missed everything except the crowd. Sent it into the crowd out on the full. Laird in the right back pocket for Adelaide. There's still plenty of time. Still 8 minutes or just under 8 minutes to play.
This is the contest they've got to win, or at least halve.
The Giants by 3 points. Adelaide look to exit. Off the pack, Fogarty becomes the tackler on Kelly. Will hold things up. Full time at Kardinia Park. Geelong winners by 77 points over the Bombers. Moves them into 5th. 5 goals to Tom Hawkins as well. Brown won the ruck battle against O'Brien, but tapped it straight to the boundary line. It'll be tossed back in on the outer side, front of the Foss-Williams stand. Live ladder, as a result of how close this game is, actually doesn't have the Giants in the 8. They're out on percentage.
Ball comes back into play. Off hands, Bedford got the hand pass out. Ward just sent it forward. Along the ground it wobbles. Picked up by Smith, hand pass towards Keys. He was tackled as he hand passed, and as such the ball went over the boundary line, and we'll get a throw in.
Smart kick by Cornelio, just a scrubber kick getting it inside 50. We talk about time in forward half and how hard it is to get it out if you're the Adelaide. The ball's very much so in the Giants forward half at the moment. Adelaide struggling to get it out.
Oh, it came down to Kelly, but Adelaide intercepted through Hinge, and he gave it away to Jones, back towards centre wing. The ball comes off hands. Pedler tackle, lost it. Iden picked it up, hand pass wide for Fahey. Got it, scrubbed it, inside 50 just. Brown was there, but Adelaide had the numbers. Chase Jones, Laird, and then Hinge. And Hinge finally gets a poised kick out towards Brodie. Smith comes out to this side of the ground, running stronger as Butts couldn't take it under pressure from Riccardi. Butts gets it towards the boundary line, but not over.
Riccardi with the handball forward, big tackle from McHenry. who held up where the Giants keep forcing it forward, back rather. And Riccardi gets it off and finds Stephen Cornelio.
Butch just needed to take it out. He's flicked it behind him and kept it in play, kept the ball live. Now the Giants have got it.
Broadcast wing, right half back. Cornelio squares it up to Himmelberg. Not a lot. So he'll head down the line. Sitting in the hole, Worrell is crunched by Briggs. Ball comes to ground. Angwin caught in the Sloan tackle. Came out to Brown, who hands it to Lloyd from 45, unselfishly centres his kick. It'll sit up for Fay. Jones got the spoil, but committed too much. It ricocheted out for Fay, who kicks one tight in the pocket, and the Giants are up by 9 points. Jones put it all on the line. Just didn't kill the footy. GWS lead 9-11-65 to Adelaide's 8-8-56. 22 played in the final term.
Tell you what, I'd like to see a replay of that. I don't know how Brown ended up ahead of the footy all on his own. Whether there was a defender for the Adelaide Footy Club that got drawn into the contest. He sat out in layer 2 and ended up getting the ball over the top. And the other bloke I want to talk about is Fay. He's been outstanding since coming on as sub.
We talked about three-quarter time.
Yeah.
The subs are going to make a huge impact.
He's
Fay's had a massive impact. But it got back to Butts. He tried to keep the ball in, but he could have easily just walked it out. He flicks it back. The Giants get possession, which leads to that goal.
Fay from Queanbeyan, picked up in the draft in 21. So he's been on the list for the 2 years. Out of the middle, Ash took it as O'Brien had the knockdown. Whitfield came through with no luck. Adelaide gets it through Sloan. Whitfield with a good tackle. Game number 200 for him. He's been impressive. Inside half forward goes the kick. And Taylor Walker beaten by Taylor. So Sam Taylor takes the mark for the Giants defensively.
Tell you what I wouldn't mind saying from Adelaide's perspective is McHenry getting him inside, getting him around the footy, because he does give energy and he does give pressure.
Taylor launches it to the eastern side. Smith shoves Bedford out of it but can't claim the intercept mark, and it'll be a boundary throw-in.
And at the moment, they're -7 in contested footy, Adelaide, and GWS have momentum dominating field position.
Still 6 minutes to play. Strap yourselves in on Grandstand AFL. 9-point game, Giants up. O'Brien wins it down to Smith. Crows back inside 50. Walker having to chase Taylor for it, close to the boundary line. Handball over the top, didn't favour Iden. Fay came in, spun a 360 and coughed it up. Handball forward for the Crows. Fogarty caught behind. Handball came out to Rankin. Check side from 30, hits the left-hand goalpost. They kept pressuring and pressuring. The Giants kept turning it over, but Rankin couldn't capitalise. 8-point game. 9-11-65, plays 8-9-57.
That's normally his bread and butter too, Rankin.
So Himmelberg plays on, gave it to Whitfield, who found the chest of Kelly. So the veterans working together. Kelly backs up on this broadcast side. He's at right half back. Kicks long down the line. Worrell sits again at the front of the pack. It's through his hands. Brown lost it. Butts went back with his hand pass for Adelaide. Spearing kick then from Smith, and Whitfield intercepts. What a game 200 would be if he wins.
You could see what Smith was trying to do. He's come back through the middle, but it was just an execution. Just missed. I think it was Rochelle and Whitfield mopped it up, but you can see he's trying to take the game on.
So Buckley points long and sends it that way. Up to left half forward. Big fly from Murray. Plenty of height. Knocked it down. Chase Jones front and square, coughed it up. Gave it to Cornelio. The Giants are surging. Bedford to Fay. Centres his kick. Front position. Hinge couldn't control it. Spills out to Lloyd. 30 from goal. Goes to ground in the Smith tackle. Ball up to come. Umpire circles and says, give it to me. Slight angle to the left. GWS is attacking 50, up by 8.
And Chase Jones just held on to the ball just for a fraction of a second too long to allow the GWS defender to get some body on him and cause the turnover.
Briggs knocks it forward for the Giants. Adelaide will get it near the boundary line. McHenry off to Laird. Dummies the hand pass, then back to McHenry. Tries to push off. Gave it back to Laird just. They're fine lining it down the boundary. Picked up by Murphy inside forward. Inside the wing he goes with a kick. Fogarty got away from 2, perhaps 3. Hand pass wide for Rankin. Keys has run forward as he does. Keys goes looking with his left foot inside 50 and misses Rochelle and kicks it out on the full. Scoreboard pocket.
They were out. He just needed to hit Rochelle, and they not a certain goal, but they were inside 50. They were out.
Oh no.
Crows fans with hands in their heads. It's uncomfortable here at the Adelaide Oval. The Giants exit. Briggs got it to ground. Green, the intended target off his kick. Sliding in, knocked it straight to Laird. Little 1-2 with Worrell. Now Dawson back. Hinge centres his kick. He's looking for McHenry, who waited for it. Himmelberg threw himself into it. Knocked to ground. Ripped away from the footy. Bedford lost it. Came out. Worrell heads into the 50 for Adelaide. Rankin back with the fight is cleaned up by Murphy. Both went for it. Murphy's down. Whitfield exits. Bouncing in front of Hogan. He brushes off Jones with ease and chips it over the top to Bedford.
Giants look like winners. Bedford goes down to half forward. He's found Cornelio in a bit of space. Inside forward, kick astray. Intercept marked by Butts immediately. Squares the ball. Scholl takes it. Nowhere to go down the line. Holds onto it. Still holding onto it. Brown pursues him. Gets him. Forces him to hand pass away. Angwin picks it up. Outside 50. Goes to Lloyd. He's pulled down. Great tackle by Miller. Closed him down brilliantly. And the hand pass came out over the line. No call.
Comedy of errors. Sorry, Josh. Comedy of error from both teams. But what about Brown's pressure to not commit and hold the Adelaide player up, so he had no decision to make? But Adelaide have had their chances.
Well, that was either holding the ball or deliberate. Either or, take your pick. Crows fans not happy, and rightfully so.
Carnage around the ground. Murphy's got back to his feet. He's ginger. Callum Brown's been checked out by the trainers, which has halted play. Seems to be a right ankle issue. He's decided to stay out as well. Right half forward for the Giants.
Looks like they put Hogan behind the footy, boys.
8-point lead. Briggs just slaps it forward, trying to get it towards the arc. Bounce didn't favour him. Another boundary throw in. Josh Money downstairs.
Yeah, looked like a right shoulder for Lockie Murphy. He's come to the bench. Can't really move it at all, so he's in real strife.
The race for finals so tight at the moment. A plethora of teams battling for a couple of positions. The 4 points so important. O'Brien won it down through the hands of McHenry. Scholl lost it. Lloyd's kick bounced off a couple of shins. Jones gathers in defensive 50. Got it to Smith. A hidden hope out to the eastern wing. Pedlar's on the chase. A sprint with Whitfield, but he overran the footy. Whitfield gathers, heads to Green. Left half forward, too far out to score. He's trying to draw 50 as he goes to ground. All he's done is given Adelaide a chance to get back. The Giants skipper heads into the left forward pocket. Brown's his target. He's outnumbered. Butts keeps him out of it, and Dawson takes the intercept mark and wants to go.
Goes straight down the ground. Looking for Murray. Ball comes to ground. Giants are over it. It comes to Ash. Flicks a hand pass out. Kick forward by Green again, and there's the winning mark, you'd think. Lloyd's taken it 20 out, straight in front. He can take his 30 seconds and put the Giants 3 goals clear effectively.
Well, we spoke about Toby Green being almost the game breaker. He's at 8 final quarter disposals. He's kicked a goal and has been instrumental. And again, on that occasion, just a quick kick forward, Lucks of Fortune and Lloyd take the mark.
Lloyd comes in and kicks truly. And that's the seal you would think for the Giants.
Yep.
10-11-71 plays Adelaide 8-9-57. 30 minutes into the final quarter. And the Giants have been able to shut down the Adelaide attack. They've only scored 1 behind in this last quarter. The Giants now have 4 goals, 2.
You called it, Josh. The team that can be more efficient in tight moments in the last quarter will normally wins the game, and that's what the Giants have done. Adelaide have had their chances. Keys runs into inside 50 with no pressure. Misses Rochelle. Rankin and Murphy both go for a ball and collide inside 50. Potential goal gone. and a couple of just drop marks and some silly little things have cost Adelaide tonight. And Giants have just been far superior this last quarter.
It's deja vu for the Crows. They've coughed up another half-time lead to the Giants this season. GWS edge one step closer to the top 8. Adelaide's season hanging by a thread with a tough run of games to come. Daniels clears it to the eastern side, and the Giants slay the South Australian monster. They hand Adelaide a rare home loss in a season-defining win. The Giants winners by 14 points.
Sound from the west of the town, it's the sound of the mighty Giants. Feel the ground is shaking, the other teams are quaking in their boots before the Giants. We take the longest strides and the highest leap, we're stronger than the rest. We're the greater Western Sydney Giants, we're the biggest and the best, and we will never surrender, we'll fight until the end, we're greater than the rest.
It was a back and forth affair to start the contest. Adelaide led by 5 at quarter time. They extended that margin to 17 points after the Giants went goalless in the second term. They kept that margin to 3-quarter time, but Adelaide's last goal at the 17-minute mark of the third quarter was all they could throw up in the second half. The Giants ran away with it to finish by winners by 14 points, 10-11-71 to 8-9-57.
Well, there's a big, big sound from the west of the town. It's the sound of the mighty Giants. Feel the ground is shaking, the other teams are quaking in their boots before the Giants. We take the longest strides and the highest leap, we're stronger than the rest. We're the greater Western Sydney Giants, we're the biggest and the best, and we will never surrender, we'll fight until the end, we're greater than the rest.
3 goals to Toby Green, singles to Brown, Lloyd, Fay, Himmelberg, Hogan, Kelly and Cadman for the Giants. For the Crows, 2 to Walker, singles to Jones, Keys, Thilthorpe, Rochelle, McAdam and Laird. GWS in 9th on percentage, but equal with St Kilda, the Western Bulldogs and the Bombers. They're now 2 points clear of Carlton, a game clear of the Crows and the Suns, and certainly right in the hunt for a finals position, considering the form lines of the Saints and the Bulldogs. Adelaide season hanging by a thread. Melbourne next week, the showdown the week after. It's a tough run with Brisbane at the Gabba as well in their run home. The Giants, meanwhile, have the Suns next week, then the Bulldogs and the Swans, so you'd think they'd have the more favourable draw. And gee, Adam Kingsley's men would be up and about after snatching a win in South Australia at a venue that the Crows have dominated throughout season 2023. GWS winners by 14 points to break it all down. Dean Brogan and Josh Franco.
Well, I reckon equally as excited as Adam Kingsley would be about that victory, I think Matthew Nicks will be really disappointed. In terms of the way the game unfolded, we talked about it the first quarter, the second quarter, there was that bit of an arm wrestle. At 3-quarter time, I think the margin was 16, 17 points. And at that point in the game, Adelaide were playing reasonable footy. But they would be really, really bitterly disappointed in terms of that last quarter. And I've just written a couple of the numbers down, just in terms of what GWS were able to bring to the table in that last 30 minutes of footy. They were +9 in contested footy. They were +4 in inside 50s, +24 in disposals. They kicked 5 goals, 2 I think it was in that final quarter, to Adelaide, unable to hit the scoreboard with a major.
Well, they got smashed, didn't they, in the last quarter, let's be honest. Look, I still felt Adelaide had their chances. We spoke through the game about moments, and the team that's more efficient and can win one-on-ones normally wins these tight games. If you look from a statistical point of view, even though the last quarter was all heavily weighted to the Giants, by the end of the game, if you look at contested ball, inside 50s, ground balls, possessions, it's very even. Like any team could have won if you look at the stats. But if you're watching the game or listening to the game, you would have heard us say the Giants this and the Giants that. They just had better moments, and their better players had better moments, like Green, Canelio, Kelly.
Brodie Smith and Taylor Walker. Chair Rory Sloane off the ground in game 250 The Eastern Rangers product, a one-time All-Australian, two-time best and fairest, been a former skipper as well at 33 years of age. This footy club unable to get the job done today at the Adelaide Oval, but certainly a nice moment for a man who didn't really get the chance to celebrate with the Crows fan base in Game 200 during COVID. A chance in Game 250 to soak in the adoration of the fan base, albeit in a loss tonight. Back to you, Brooks.
Oh, look, they just had their better players, just had better moments on the night, and a few of Adelaide's younger players just faltered a little bit, a couple of drop marks. I kept going on about Butch trying to keep the ball in when he should have taken it out. And look, they'll learn from these moments in crucial games, but yeah, they failed tonight. They were really good in patches of the game, and they were challenged through the game, and they responded. But when the whips were cracking in the last quarter, the Giants were just better.
Well, the other thing about the Giants as well, and I think I read an article over the last couple of weeks, and David King was quoted saying if there's one side that can get into the final 8, which would be a real smoky, real dark horse, it was the Giants. And I must admit, I haven't seen a lot of them. I haven't seen them live, clearly, but I haven't seen a lot of them throughout the course of this season. I've seen them in patches, but they impressed me tonight. They've still got a lineup, and we spoke about it pre-game in terms of their personnel that are on their playing list. They're still jam-packed with some top-end talent. But just the way the brand of footy that they're playing stacks up. In terms of their ability to pressure the opposition, they're able to hang in the game. In terms of the scoreboard as well, they never let that get to a point where it was unmanageable. And in the end, they just worked harder for longer. And as you said, Brogues, they were cleaner and more composed and made better decisions under pressure to finally get the 4 points.
And let's not forget, no Tom Green, who's arguably their best midfielder, and Haynes, who's arguably one of their best drop-off backs. So they were down a couple of A-graders tonight. How good's Sam Taylor, honestly? Look, Walker had his moments, don't get me wrong. He was quite effective, but Taylor over the course of the game was just unbelievable. He's such a good player. I really like the way Adam Kingsley made a couple of adjustments coming out of half-time. We spoke about Adelaide dropping back when the Giants brought up a forward and having a spare, which really hurt the Giants in the second quarter, and they made an adjustment. They kept 6 forwards. I spoke about Toby Green playing more closer to home. They did that, and they got a result. So they've got the wood over Adelaide, haven't they? They've beaten them the last three or four times. They're a super team. You're right, Josh. They can cause a bit of damage over the last 6 weeks and make finals. Yeah,
and I guess the other thing as well, when I go through the numbers and you're obviously having a look at the game and witnessing the game, and those players that are hugely influential. I mean, Kelly last week had 6 disposals, and I know throughout the call we mentioned, and I know you mentioned a few times, I reckon a few of the players sort of went to him at stoppage, but that was about it. But I don't reckon they paid enough respect to a Kelly or a Whitfield, and they were to run rampant. And in terms of those two players, they've had 56 disposals between the two of them. 10 clearances. They've had 28 contested ball, and they've had 7 inside 50s for a goal between the two of them. So I guess when you let those guys run rampant, you potentially live and die by the sword and potentially ultimately pay the price.
You've got to admire, they're a young club, but they do all the right things, don't they? Under Adam Kingsley, they did the Guard of Honour for Rory Sloane in his 250th match. They've got their own player in Lockie Whitfield who's playing his 200th. They've gone down to the other end of the Adelaide Oval, the northern end, the farthest point from their change rooms, and strung out along the boundary are all the supporters that have travelled for them tonight, and that only covers about 20 metres of fence line.
A long way from Western Sydney.
and they're still, actually, I think it might be Brown who's still down there thanking the supporters and that as they make their way into the rooms finally. So I'm sure Josh Money's down in the rooms, and he's been waiting expectantly probably for 10 minutes as they now go to chair Whitfield off the ground themselves.
He was great tonight, Whitfield, wasn't he? Like you spoke about Adelaide, I think they got it wrong. They put Chase Jones to Kelly from the start of the game, who was a really tight tag, and it just didn't work. And then when they put Keys onto him, Kelly had already had 8 or 9 possessions and had his game in flow. So... And then second half, I think they dropped it. And it's one question I guess it'll get asked in the media, why didn't you go to Kelly? Why Keys, when Keys plays his best footy, he goes with a run with. I didn't see that a hard tag by Keys tonight. Now, whether or not they decided to not go with that, but yeah, looking back on it, it's probably a bit of a blip for Nixie.
With you for the next 35 minutes. to wrap up all things Saturday footy, and the Giants 14-point wins over the Crows, 10-11, 71 to 8-9, 57. Let's head into the rooms with Josh Money.
Yeah, just a massive win for the Giants in the context of their season. 5 wins in a row. They look a reborn side under Adam Kingsley, and it certainly keeps their finals hopes alive. You'd imagine Lockie Whitfield will feature quite heavily in this team song after his 200th game. A big sound indeed. We'll be back with the players shortly.
As mentioned before, game 200 for Lockie Whitfield. Similar resume to Rory Sloane, 2-time best and fairest winners and All-Australian as well. Pick 1 out of Dandenong. And now, at 28 years old, he's played his 200th game. And I think the most exciting part for Adam Kingsley is not only did they get it done against Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval, which is no easy task, they did it undemand. They're missing some of their bigger names, especially Tom Green, who was a late out yesterday. Finn Callahan's a late omission before bounce down. You've got Lockie Keefe not out there tonight as well. Haynes not out there, so your backline's almost exposed a little bit. So this side can only get better. But across this 5-game winning streak, it's had some pretty major scalps. It's knocked off Melbourne along the way, obviously Adelaide here, Fremantle as well. It's not a bad run of form and a good time to peak as well.
Look, one question I'll ask there, and I know we talked about this off air before the game, bros, but are we selling GWS a little bit short? No, by that I mean is that, again, you look at the side that's playing, those guys you just mentioned, Aaron, that didn't play tonight, those, the stars of the competition to come back into their side. There was obviously the narrative and the dialogue around the GWS there. I don't think rebuilding was ever used, but, they're going to be sort of bottom half of the ladder.
Well, they had a mass exodus of stars. So Taranto are obviously 2 big names. You lose those guys and you wonder if the midfield's going to be exposed a little bit. And if anything, it's enabled star products to get more opportunities.
Absolutely. Yes. Do you know what I'm sort of trying to get at? That we not talk them down. They've been... I don't know, their potential, the way that I look at it, is there's huge upside to this side in terms of the personnel that are currently playing.
Well, in terms of the scalps they've claimed, that's great. But also, they've only had 1 blowout loss. Yeah. So every loss has been 21 points or less.
Yep.
They've lost to Collingwood by 65 points in round 9. That's the only blowout loss they've had, and that's not a bad loss, obviously.
Yeah.
The Giants winners by 14 points. Let's head down to the rooms for some reactions with Josh Money.
I'm just doing a little bit of technical organising here, but let me hand Lockie Whitfield his headphones. He's certainly earned that and a lot more after game 200. We're on air, Lockie, so no rush.
There you go.
Mate, congratulations, game 200. I'm sure every win means a lot, but in the context of the season and for you personally, how much does that mean tonight?
Yeah, that's a special one, to be honest. I love coming here to Adelaide and playing. It's a great oval, great atmosphere. The fans are great. It's a big game. They obviously had momentum for big periods. They capitalised when they needed to, but we just hung in there. And like a lot of our year, we're just good fourth quarter team. We come home with a wet sail, and we kicked straight in that last quarter, which helped. So good game, pressure game. They played well. We just dug in there.
You've basically been there throughout the whole Giants journey. We've seen so many ups and downs. Where's the club at right now? How much has changed under Kingsley this year?
It has ebbed and flowed. I've been here 11 years, so, we weren't winning games, and you go through that peak with Leon, and then the trough when he left, and then Kingers is just bringing us back up, and we're building a good game, brandy footy that's built on defence and pressure on the ball. So, it's good. We've got a young crew. They bring a lot of enthusiasm, so it's just a fun place to be.
You say you love coming to Adelaide. That's 3 wins in a row against the Crows here now. What is it about the ground or the matchup that seems to suit you so well, do you think?
Oh, it's hard to say. The fans here are great. They're loud, and we don't get all the opportunities to play in front of 50,000 every week. So we love that, and I don't know. It's just a really nice ground to play footy, and we make the most of it.
I'll throw you up to the box.
Righto, thanks.
Lockie, congratulations on your game tonight. Obviously, congratulations on 200 games as well. Fantastic achievement and terrific footy that you played throughout this part of your career. You talked about Adam Kingsley. Look, I've played a bit of footy. I've got Dean Brogan next to me. We played a fair bit of footy with Adam Kingsley. Can you give us a bit of an insight into what he's brought to the footy club?
Well, look, he's just brought a different sort of structure, like a real blue-collar sort of work ethic and, one in all and everyone play their role. And if we play a system, we should be able to be in every single game. A defensive system that, involves all 18 players at one time. So, we hang in every game and then you get some offence right towards the end and you can win them.
Lockie Brogues here, mate. Congratulations on 200 games, mate. I was very lucky enough to be a part of a little bit of that, and it's fantastic to see you play 200th in the best state in Australia, mate. So well done and congratulations on the win.
Thanks,
mate,
Dino.
What adjustments did you make at half time? Because we were talking about the box. We thought Adelaide were really on top, and we said that you guys are going to have to make some adjustments, at half time to get yourself back in the game. Can you just elaborate on some of the things, if you can remember, on some of the things that were changed at half time?
Not too much, mate, because we thought we were doing okay, we were hanging in there, but we just needed to keep coming forward with the pressure on the ball. And then once we got the ball, have a bit more composure, take the ball off the line. I think we're probably playing on and playing a bit too fast through that centre-half back region. And Adelaide played a really good second quarter, which kept the ball inside their 50 and just put us under the pump for that whole second quarter. So we knew we'd have a chance, but we just need to hang in there. And, we were able to move the ball with a bit more freedom in the second half.
And you're playing a bit more half-back this year, Lockie. Do you like playing... Where's your best position? I know you've played a lot of footy now, and even when I was at the Giants, we used to flip you around a bit. Where do you like to play your best footy?
I do enjoy the half-back, mate. I love seeing, the ball in front of me and being able to see the game that way. But, wherever's necessary, mate, I don't mind getting up on the wing and maybe bearing the square sometimes at full forward.
No, that's not you, mate. We know that.
And Lockie, as a footy club, you must feel like you're really starting to build something in terms of how the season's progressing. You're knocking on the door of the 8. You must really feel like you're starting to build something special.
Yeah, absolutely. I mentioned before we're quite a youthful team, and these blokes rock up every day to training and bring that sort of enthusiasm and laughter and mateship that really can build a club and a good culture. So, they're making us old blokes feel a bit more youthful.
Lockie Whitfield's our guest on Grandstand AFL after the Giants' 14-point win. Lockie, it's Aaron Bryans here. Just on this win streak as well, we just touched on it there before the interview. It feels like you've flown under the radar a little bit. You're just out of the 8 on percentage, but do you think your list and your team right now is underrated?
Yeah, well, it's hard to say. We started the season pretty poorly, so sort of put ourselves in that sort of position. But now we're on a streak. We're starting to play some good footy, and it's all built on that pressure. So I don't know if we're underrated. I think we're pretty... everyone knows that we can win games. We've done 5 in a row, I think, or 6 out of our last 7 or something like that. So, mate, hopefully the streak continues.
And what does it mean for a midfield group when, firstly, you find out Tom Green is out 24 hours before the game, and then Finn Callahan's a late omission as well? It almost drastically shakes things up, but it didn't seem to faze you.
Nah, it's definitely 2 very good players, so it does hurt. But, when you play the sort of footy that we're trying to build, it's, next man in sort of mentality. And, even like Lockie Ash was playing in the midfield in that last quarter, so we can flip the magnets a bit. Everyone knows the structures and the systems, and, that's about it.
Lockie, Neil Cross here. Can I take you way back those 11 years and looking back now? You've seen a lot of players come and go. You started in Dandenong and went up to Sydney. What were your first thoughts when you got drafted by the Giants? Did you think you'd be there for 11 years?
I actually did think that. I sort of wrapped my head around coming up to Sydney and living the Sydney lifestyle with the harbour city and the sun out in the middle of winter sort of setup. It's not too bad up there, mate. But I'm pretty proud to play 11 years straight with the one club, and I'm very hopeful to finish my career here too.
Lockie, thanks for your time. Go enjoy the win, and best of luck next weekend against the Suns.
Thanks, lads. Thanks.
Great to have Lockie Whitfield on Grandstand AFL. 28 touches to his name, 2 tackles, 7 contested possessions, 4 inside 50s and 6 score involvements, certainly leading the charge in that makeshift midfield alongside Josh Kelly and Stephen Coniglio, and the absences of Tom Green and Finn Callaghan. And as he touched on in that interview, and you asked him about it, he's very versatile, Lachie Whitfield. He was never supposed to play half-back. It was a role that he was thrust into, and he won an All-Australian blazer doing it.
Well, like I said, I was lucky enough to be with Lachie when he first got drafted and then play with him a little bit, but also coach him. And when I coached the stoppages in midfield, Lachie was Mr. Fix-It. Where do we need him? Half back. Where do we need him? Wing. Where do we need him? Half forward to get up around the footy. His running power is elite. And look, he can be quite frustrating at times early days. He'd fade in and out of games. He's a light-framed sort of kid. But the last, when he got those 50 games under his belt, he just became an elite player. And you hear the way he speaks. He's a leader of that footy club. And trust me, lots of clubs have come for Lachie Whitfield, and he's been loyal. And the Giants have obviously looked after him, but he's been a great servant of that footy club. And to play 200 games, and saw some of his kicks tonight. When he's got the ball on a string like that, some of those kicks you can't stop.
And I guess when you look at guys like Kelly as well, they're just so difficult. We talked about tagging and trying to nullify the influence on the game. They're so difficult because if they're in the midfield, you put someone on them, they can go to half back. If they're not touching it there, they can go forward. So what do you do? And they actually do it in general play. So they're so difficult to shut down and nullify their influence.
Well, they've played a lot of footy together now. Whitfield, Kelly, Coniglio, Green, and you can just see that they've got this understanding. Kelly, you're on ball, I'll pop out. Yeah. And the coach doesn't have to coach that. When you've got 5 or 6 of your players that have played 150, 200 games and play at a very high level, you can sort of do that on the fly. And as a coach, you don't need to coach it. They coach themselves in that space, And look, like you said, Aaron, we probably haven't given them enough credit so far this season.
That's what I think.
Look at the age profile. They're actually in the window right now with their list. I mean, Coniglio's 29, Toby Green is 29, Lachie Whitfield's 28, Callum Ward's obviously 33. The rest are around that 23, 24 mark. Josh Kelly's 28, Jesse Hogan's 28. So that their stars are heading towards that back end, so that they've got a good 2-3 years here to try and make their way back to the big dance before it's a new list.
Yeah. And I think also too, when you talk about their stars are genuine stars. So in terms of, Kelly, Whitfield, Coniglio, you're going through the list, they've also got, Himmelberg's been around for a long time, those sorts of players. So when you add 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 young guys into the mix with that talent, it makes it easier for the young guys to have an influence as well. And that's why I reckon, again, that going back to the narrative around GWS, is that I reckon people generally, in terms of the football public, are selling them short a bit, because I think they're a bloody good side.
Which is probably, they don't mind it, probably. No one's really talking about them. 3 or 4 years ago, everyone was talking about them, and there was a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah.
But now they're sort of flying under the radar, and I just think the way Adam Kingsley is coaching them, I think he's done a remarkable job for a first-year coach. And look, that club's got really good culture. We talk about these expansion clubs. We all know what's happening in the Gold Coast at the moment, but the Giants got it right from the start, and they've kept these players around like Kelly, Whitfield, Coniglio. Gold Coast don't have that.
Well, that's the difference, bro. Because I reckon even you talk about the Gold Coast, their stars aren't Kelly, Whitfield, Coniglio.
Ward,
they're not that.
Ward in there as well.
Those sorts of guys. So you got young kids coming into the Suns, which don't have, I guess, those role models.
Rao, Miller, Anderson,
those sorts of guys.
Coniglio, Kelly.
Yeah, but they haven't stayed. Yeah. The Giants have always wanted to keep a core of 5 or 6 to play 200 games together.
Yeah.
Yep, some stars have left. Taranto's have left. The Hoppers, the Trelaws and Shields have moved on. But there is a reason why they have moved on.
And what they've traded for them, though, is these high picks. So if you just look down the list, okay, they got Coniglio at number 2. They got Green at number 11. They got Whitfield at number 1. But they've also picked up some of these other guys coming in. Sam Taylor was picked 28. He's become a star. But they've also got other players who've come in and done the job. And they're more of a working class side than they were when they were throwing the ball around when the original Orange Tsunami was happening, sort of thing.
Well, you need good role players in any team, and the Giants you've got your A graders, but you've got really good B graders as well. And I think if they can stay healthy, Briggs has come from nowhere. His second half tonight against O'Brien was unbelievable. First half O'Brien had him. Briggs comes from nowhere and ends up having 30 hit-outs and 16 disposals.
So we had a chat this morning on SA Grandstand about how we felt the Crows were the best team of the chasing pack, that you've got Collingwood and Port as a clear top 2, Brisbane and Melbourne are rightfully so in the top 4. Geelong's in that conversation. St Kilda and the Bulldogs don't feel like they have enough to be impactful. The Bombers are around there as well. How far can the Giants go? Do you think they're a first-round finals team? Can they go second, third? Is this a team that has the potential to make an impact in September?
I think they do.
The players, the players we're talking about a lot tonight have been there and done it before. Right, they've played in a lot of finals, the Giants. They haven't won a grand final, but Kelly's played in a grand final. Whitfield, Canelio, Perryman, Taylor, Green, Himmelberg, Ward, they've all played in finals. So if they make a final, they know what's coming. And they won't fear them going down to Geelong and playing them down there. They've beaten them down there. So I think tonight says a lot about Adelaide a little bit as well. They haven't been impressive the last 2 weeks. And the back half of footy seasons, the last couple of years, they haven't won a lot of games. And it looks like they're just wavering a little bit. And we're going to have to reassess where Adelaide are at the moment.
Let's check in with the Crows and see how they are feeling. The Giants winners by 14 points here at the Adelaide Oval. Josh Money's in the Adelaide rooms.
Yeah, I'm joined by Riley O'Brien from the Crows. Rob, the difference in that loss was 11th, where you currently sit, or potentially 6th had you won the game. How costly does that feel right now?
Yeah, it certainly makes our season a lot harder from this point on. It was a really disappointing loss. Obviously a really important game in the context of the season and making the 8. So, yeah, certainly one we let slip there.
Important in the context of the season, but also in terms of honouring a champion in Rory Sloane. How much does that add to the disappointment that you weren't able to get it done for him tonight? Yeah, certainly really disappointing not to be able to do that for Sloane. He's obviously a legend of the club and someone we all love and admire. So, yeah, I mean, really disappointing to not allow him to celebrate. It stings. Very raw. You've just had a meeting, but can you put your finger on where it went wrong in that final term? We were trying to work that out ourselves in that last quarter. In the meeting, we were talking about that. We just lost critical contests and lacked composure late in the game for whatever reason. We played some pretty solid footy up to three-quarter time, and then that last quarter we lost critical contests and weren't able to stand up when they picked up their game. So, super disappointing that we come away with that result. I'll throw you up to the team.
And Riley, Josh Franco, bad luck on tonight. Just going back to what you said in terms of, you lacked a little bit of composure, I guess, when the game was really on the line. I guess more so for the listeners at home. How do you actually train that? How do you get better in that space moving forward so that if you're in this position again that you know how to do things better?
I mean, it's a good question. I think it just comes back to, I guess, the standards you train at and the intensity you bring to training. To try and bring that game-like intensity and intensity from late in games into training because that's where you get better and allow yourself to be able to stand up in those moments. For whatever reason, tonight we weren't able to do that. We've done it certainly at times this year, but really disappointing last quarter tonight.
Riley, Dean Brogan here, mate. Did you feel like you were in control of the game for most of the night? And like Josh said, the last quarter just really got away from you. The last 2 weeks you've really dropped away. I know it's something that you're reflecting on now, but what's something that you can potentially do going into next week against Melbourne? I know it's only really raw at the moment, but what's something you can think about during the week?
Yeah, I mean, certainly we felt like we were in control for those first three quarters. We played some pretty solid footy, restricted their score a lot, played sort of the way we want to play, and then in that last quarter they upped it, and we just weren't able to stand up with that heat. We probably, it looked like we went a bit conservative, and then we just weren't composed with the ball and lost critical contests. So it's probably that ability to be able to, I guess, stand up when the opposition team comes at you, which they inevitably will. But we weren't able to do that tonight, which is super disappointing. And we'll certainly review that this week and work out why, and then make sure it doesn't happen again.
Josh Kelly had a really good game, obviously, for the Giants. Had 28 disposed, had 6 last week with a run with roll. Was there a plan to run with him? We saw early in the game Chase Jones was starting with him, but then he sort of got moved off him. Was there any tag on him after quarter time or through the game?
We went into the game, with the plan to tag him and quell his influence early in the game, and then the call came down to drop that on the back of probably our structure getting pulled apart a little bit. We wanted to play our way, so we went back to that. and whether that is the right call or not, I'm not sure, but he's obviously a really good player. But I think most of the night it worked. We were playing really good footy up until 3/4 time, and then I think it was all over the ground. We started losing contests, and that was what hurt us.
Riley O'Brien's our guest on Grandstand AFL after the Crows lost to the Giants by 14 points. Riley, Aaron Bryant's here. There was a lot of intensity in the contest tonight, and we saw that in Josh Rochelli's report for his high elbow on Jack Buckley. Can you tell us a bit about what it was like at ground level and this rivalry that developed across the night?
I mean, it was certainly a big game for both teams in the context of the year, and there was certainly some heat in it, and both teams knew it was on the line, and there's a bit of, certainly a bit of argy-bargy, but it's all part of footy, and it was good, but they were able to obviously step up late in the game, and it was super disappointing, but it was finals-like footy at times, and we weren't able to get it done.
Have you had the chance to catch up with Matthew Nicks?
Yeah, we had a meeting as a group just then, and we sort of, it was, the message was, pretty much disappointment, and we tried to as a group, get to the bottom of what happened late in that game, and we'll probably get answers early in the week and go from there.
So what was his demeanour like? Usually he's a fairly composed coach, but we could see across the evening his frustration continued to grow. Was he more angry, disappointed? Did we get a lot of emotion out of Matthew Nicks tonight?
Yeah, look, he was pretty disappointed and flat, and probably it's a little bit, I guess, sick of it in terms of, and a bit exasperated in the fact that we've probably been in the situation before and let similar games slip, and we've done it again tonight, which is super disappointing for the football club, and especially in the context of Rory's 250th game. We had a lot to play for, and I guess we didn't stand up. We didn't stand up in that last quarter. So his emotions are probably disappointment, and
Riley, thanks for your time tonight, and hopefully you can bounce back next week against the D's.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Great to have Riley O'Brien in a disappointing loss for the Adelaide Crows, who now find themselves a game out of the 8 with a tough run to come. Melbourne put Adelaide in the next 2. They've got to go to the Gabba to play Brisbane on the run home as well. It's a difficult task to try and squeeze into a couple of spots that are left with so many teams hunting.
Yeah, and it's interesting to listen to Riley O'Brien talk about the Kelly matchup. So obviously they did go into the game trying to nullify his influence. He had 9 first quarter disposals and he had 7 second quarter. So he's had 16 to half time. So obviously Chase Jones did some time or spent some time on him, but obviously didn't put enough work into him and had too much of an influence. And it was also interesting, they dropped it after half time, I think he said, because it pulled them out of structure. And we go back to the comments we made about Whitfield and Kelly. They're so hard to tag because they can go forward, they can go back, they can go to the wing, they go inside, and they do it in general play. So they are difficult players to shut out of the game.
He summed up the game pretty well, didn't he? The big fella has played a lot of footy. He knows why they lost. But he did say, look, they felt like they were in a good spot at 3/4 time, and like he said, they just lost critical moments in the last quarter, and the Giants were better, and he just summed that up. So I dare say that's what Matty Nicks would have evaluated quickly after the game, and they'll dissect it a little bit more, and a lot of their younger players, Adelaide, will have to learn from some of their moments in the last quarter. It's the only way you can get better is show the tape and go, we just need to be better here, we've got to be better there, and you should have done that, and next time we're in this position we should do that. So they do have a relatively young list, and playing in these big, tight games, you learn a lot when you lose.
So this is another case of you shouldn't get beaten by what you know. So, and we do know, look, the record this season, the Giants coming into this match, they only had 1 winning quarter, and that was the final quarter. So coming in, they'd won 10 final quarters and lost 6. The only quarter they won tonight was the final quarter, when you look at it overall. So for 3 quarters, the Crows, as Riley O'Brien suggested, we thought we had it pretty much under control.
And I guess that's where we go back to when a side starts to mature and they're sort of arrived in terms of being on the scene at AFL level. That's when they're able to keep the margin in check.
Yeah.
So they don't let that margin blow out to an unmanageable level. They keep it in check. So when momentum does swing, and inevitably it does throughout the course of a game, it did in that last quarter, then they're able to capitalise and close it and get the result.
Polish is such a hard thing to develop, and it just takes time. And I think I've harped on it a fair bit the past month, Brogues, that it's a successful year for the Adelaide Crows. They've achieved more than we thought they would, but unfortunately, because they've done so well, they've now started to develop expectations, which is we kind of expect them to play finals this year. And it's going to be hard to say the season's wasted or a failure if they don't, but it's just looking really dicey from here.
I think they're starting to fall in the ladder where we all thought they would be now. And like you said, they've had a really good year to date, and they've probably exceeded expectations. And we're like, well, could they finish 5th or 6th and cause a bit of damage? And 2 weeks ago, it was likely, it was a chance that they could. But as we see, the back half of the year, it gets hard. Like this patch of the season, it's really hard. It's a really hard game, and the cream rises to the top. The good teams really start to put the foot on the throat a little bit, and the games that you need to win, you've got to win them. And that's 2 weeks in a row now. Adelaide have needed to win to keep their spot, and they just haven't. I wouldn't say they've failed. They're just not there yet.
Yeah. But it's broken that cycle, hasn't it? They've gone, I think it was 9 weeks. Yeah, 9 weeks it's gone win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. Or actually it started with loss, win, loss, win, loss, win. So they were due for a win this week and they've lost. And that's just put them right behind the 8 ball. I think, in fact I know, that they've been 8 wins and 8 losses 5 times, and they've made the finals 3 times in their history. So now they find, they've fallen back to that 40% chance that they're going to miss the finals from an 8 position.
What's interesting as well, we talk about now, they're probably ahead of where we thought everyone would potentially thought they would have been at this point in the season.
Yeah.
But the last 6 games become really important in terms of the context of how their season plays out and the perception of them moving forward.
And they rested Saligo, this weekend because he's tired. That's the concern for me a little bit as well. Like,
because they are a young side.
They're a young side, and like I said, there's still a lot of footy to go. You know, how do they keep themselves up? And they go to the MCG against Melbourne next week. Wow, what a test that is. So they've got a big job on their hands, the coaching staff, to keep the group up and about. And I know Nixie likes to put a theme to the week, most weeks, to get his group up. So it'd be interesting to see. And like you said, Josh, the next 6 weeks are huge. And look, they're still around the mark, but I think we can just tell that they're just sort of dropping away a little bit against these really good teams that have been around for a while. Not in terms of, they've got their players have played a lot of footy,
mature bodies.
Yeah, big bodies, and been there and done it before. So, but their last quarter was poor. For 3 quarters, they were really good. They cracked in. They've got, their midfield was really good for the second and third quarters. They kicked it a little bit straighter in the third quarter, they probably would have put the game to bed. Dawson has a shot from 40 out right in front, who normally would nail that. He barely makes the distance. So they had some opportunities, just didn't get it done tonight.
36,674 in attendance to watch the Giants defeat the Crows by 14 points. There were a couple of milestone games. We touched on Lachie Whitfield when he joined us earlier. 200 games for him. Rory Sloane notching up 250, and unfortunately the Crows unable to get the job done in his milestone game. He caught up with Sam Jacobs after the result.
Yeah, their pressure was great all night, and then too good in the end. They ran away with it, and it was a disappointing finish for us. But thanks for a huge turnout tonight. All the support and messages. I feel very, very lucky to be part of this great footy club.
How has the week been, mate? It's obviously a big week. It's a big emotional week as well. What did it mean to finally get the game underway and run out with the boys?
Yeah, that was sort of it in the end. I just wanted to get playing and crack in. But yeah, it was overwhelming. The amount of support and love from family, friends, and our whole supporter base has been huge.
And just finally, mate, before I let you go, what does the club mean to you? You've been here 15, 16 years, been here from a boy, turned into a man, a father. What does the club mean to you?
Oh, mate, it's been my home away from home for the last 15 years. So, all the memories I got with so many of the players that have come through and playing on this deck. So, yeah, just want to make sure we finish this year strong and push for some finals.
Beautiful, mate. Thanks for having a chat. Give Sloane a massive round of applause. Thanks, mate.
Former teammates Rory Sloane and Sam Jacobs. Sloane in game 200 with 17 touches to his name. 12 of those contested, score involvement as well, and a couple of inside 50s. So, unfortunately, the Crows unable to honour their former skipper with a win. They're certainly up for the fight for at least half of a footy, well, 3 quarters. And unfortunately, in the final term, the Giants 5 unanswered goals, enough to get over the line by 14 points. Brogues, your first night in the box, and you've been thrown the votes. How'd you go?
Well, it's all Giants. Kelly 3, Whitfield 2, and Green 1. Green's last quarter got him the vote. He was pretty quiet for not most of the night, but he was just a match winner in the end. Yep. You have to get a vote when you're a match winner. Special mentions to Rory Laird. I thought Rory Laird cracked in all night, bunged his shoulder, came back out and played really well. Murray was good, and Hinch had a good game as well. But all the Giants tonight, Kelly was best on ground for me. Unbelievable player. And Adelaide to be kicking themselves that they didn't try and put him away a bit harder.
So 3 to Josh Kelly, 2 to Lockie Whitfield, 1 to Toby Green. Brokes, thanks for joining us tonight. Hope you enjoyed it.
I loved it.
Josh, thanks for having you as always.
No problems. Thank you.
Crossy, good calling. Thanks to Josh Money downstairs. Thanks to Andrew Williamson and to Adam Jones back in the studio as well. The Giants winners by 14 points, 10-11-71 to the Crows, 8-9-57. Still to come tonight on ABC Sport Digital, the Wimbledon Women's Final, which we'll take you to immediately following our coverage here between Ons Jabeur and Marketa Vondrousova. You can hear that on Sport Digital. And then tomorrow, footy continues. Round 18 rolls on from 11:30 Central Standard Time, 12 Eastern, with Sunday AFL with Corbin Middlemass, Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio before our 2 games to round out round 18. North Melbourne and Hawthorn, and then West Coast and Richmond from Perth Stadium to close proceedings. And then the Women's Ashes as well. If you do want to hear the second ODI, that will be available to you on Sport Digital from 8 p.m. Eastern from Southampton. So plenty of sport, all available to you on ABC Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app for all your AFL, NRL and cricket content as well. Coming up next, if you're on Sport Digital, you're headed to the Wimbledon Women's Final. Everybody else, you're headed back to network programming. The Giants winners at the Adelaide Oval by 14 points. Makes them just outside the 8 on percentage. 10-11-71 to 8-9-57. Here's how we saw it. Tumbling kick from Cumming is cut off by Laird. Gets it to Rochelle. Shrugs the tackle. Heads for home. Showtime! Josh Rochelle. Chase Jones will kick from 55. It's a massive kick. Chase Jones. Crows by 15 points, third term. O'Brien wins it down straight to Ward for the Giants. Caught in the tackle, drops it. Daniels with the volley. Gathering is Green from 30. Snaps for home and gets the kind bounce.
Briggs did well out of the ruck contest. Cadman's going to kick a goal from it. From 20 out, straight in front, played on to advantage. It was going to be a free kick played. Dawson, the captain for Adelaide, who takes it. 60 from goal, arcs around on the left foot, inside 50, great spot up. McAdam with a mark. In his first game since round 1 when he copped the suspension, McAdam converts. Adelaide steady.
Chase Jones will kick from 55. It's a massive kick. Chase Jones.
Coming, and then his forward hand pass wasn't great. It's found its way to Toby Green in the end, pushed off one, went to goal, got the bounce, there's a goal. Giants back in it. Coming for the Giants, back towards half forward. Lloyd, good gather, off to Kelly on 50. He's a strong kick, he's a long kick. He's a goal kicker. So the Giants are well and truly back in it. It's a 3-point game.
Jesse Hogan hands it off. Long ball. What a shot. It's a goal for the Giants off the bootlaces of the hero last time in Adelaide, Harry Himmelberg. He's done it again. Crows haven't had a score this quarter, and their last goal was the 17-minute mark of the third term. Came out to Brown, who hands it to Lloyd from 45, unselfishly centres his kick. It'll sit up for Fay. Jones got the spoil, but committed too much. It ricocheted out for Fay, who kicks one tight in the pocket, and the Giants are up by 9 points.
Giants are over it. It comes to Ash, flicks a hand pass out, kick forward by Green again, and there's the winning mark, you'd think. Lloyd's taken it 20 out, straight in front. Lloyd comes in and kicks truly. And that's the sealer, you would think, for the Giants.
Yep. And the Giants slay the South Australian monster. They hand Adelaide a rare home loss in a season-defining win. The Giants winners by 14 points.